Picture this. Somewhere in the vastness of space, a photon of light begins its journey from a distant star. To us, watching from Earth, this journey takes millions of years. But to the photon itself, traveling at the speed of light, no time passes at all. From the moment it leaves that star to the instant it touches your eye tonight, the photon experiences no duration, no passage, no before or after. In its reference frame, the journey is instantaneous. This isn't just a quirk of physics. It's a window into one of the most profound questions we can ask about reality itself. What if time, the thing that governs every heartbeat, every sunrise, every moment of your life, doesn't actually exist at all? Welcome to Neuroscience, where we explore the gentle mysteries of our universe through the soft lens of wonder. I'm here to guide you on a journey tonight that will challenge everything you think you know about the nature of time itself. We'll drift through the philosophical corridors where ancient thinkers first questioned time's reality, float past the laboratories where modern physicists discover that time might be far stranger than we ever imagined, and settle into the cosmic perspective that suggests past, present, and future might all be happening at once, in an eternal now that encompasses everything that ever was or ever will be. If this sounds like the kind of gentle exploration that appeals to your curious mind, perhaps you'd like to subscribe to join us for more of these peaceful cosmic journeys. And wherever you are in the world right now, whatever time your clock displays, know that you're welcome here in this moment we're sharing together, this precious now that might be all there really is. Now, dim the lights, settle into your most comfortable position, and let's drift into tonight's journey through the timeless mystery of time itself. You find yourself standing at the edge of a vast observatory deck, suspended somehow in the gentle darkness of space itself. Below you stretches the familiar curve of Earth, its blue marble surface turning slowly in what you've always called the passage of time. But tonight, something feels different. The stars around you seem perfectly still, caught in an eternal tableau, and you begin to wonder, are you witnessing the flow of time, or are you glimpsing something far more mysterious? A reality where all moments exist at once, layered like transparent sheets of cosmic glass? This question has haunted human consciousness for millennia. You drift back through the corridors of thought to ancient Greece, where philosophers in flowing robes debated under olive trees about the nature of existence itself. Parmenides, with his penetrating gaze fixed on the eternal, argued that change was impossible, that all of reality existed in one perfect, unchanging moment. To him, the idea that things could move from past to future was merely a trick of human perception, like shadows dancing on a cave wall, while the true reality remained perfectly still. You can almost hear his voice echoing through the centuries. What is simply is. There is no coming into being, no passing away, no before or after. His student Zeno crafted his famous paradoxes to support this view. Picture Achilles, the swift-footed hero, racing against a tortoise. Logic suggests that if the tortoise starts ahead, Achilles can never overtake it, because each time he reaches where the tortoise was, it has moved a little further. The paradox suggests that motion itself might be impossible, that time's apparent flow is nothing but an illusion masking a deeper, motionless reality. But as you float here in the cosmic darkness, feeling the gentle pulse of your own heartbeat, you wonder how something that feels so real, so immediate, could be mere illusion. You drift forward through time's mystery, approaching the realm where modern physics has begun to unravel secrets that make ancient philosophy seem almost prophetic. You find yourself in the warm glow of a physicist's study, where Albert Einstein sits at his desk, pen in hand, contemplating equations that would forever change how we understand reality. His special theory of relativity whispers a secret into the cosmic night. Time is not the universal, steady tick-tock you've always imagined. Instead, it stretches and compresses, flows faster here and slower there, depending on how fast you're moving and how deep you are in gravity's embrace. Picture yourself aboard a spacecraft, accelerating gently through the star-filled void. As your speed increases, approaching the speed of light, time itself begins to slow around you. What feels like minutes to you becomes hours to someone watching from Earth. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, the very atoms of your being, all experience time at a different rate. This isn't just theory. It's been measured with atomic clocks, so precise they can detect the difference in time's flow between your head and your feet as you lie in bed tonight. Einstein's insight grows even stranger when you consider gravity. You drift down to Earth's surface and imagine standing at the base of a tall tower. Time moves slightly faster at the top of the tower than at the bottom, because gravity's pull is minutely weaker there. GPS satellites orbiting high above must constantly adjust their clocks because time passes differently in their position than it does down here on Earth's surface. The universe, it seems, doesn't have one universal now. It has countless nows, all flowing at different rates, all equally valid. This revelation leads you to an even more startling possibility. If time can flow at different rates, if simultaneity is relative, then what we call now might not be a single, universal moment slicing through reality. Instead, the universe might be more like a vast, four-dimensional block where every moment that ever was or ever will be exists simultaneously. Past, present, and future might all be equally real, equally present, just arranged in a way that your particular perspective makes seem sequential. You float upward now, rising through layers of understanding, approaching the quantum realm where reality becomes even stranger. Here, in the microscopic domain of atoms and photons, the very notion of before and after begins to dissolve. Quantum mechanics suggests that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until they're observed. But if time itself is an illusion, then perhaps this superposition isn't about particles being in multiple states at one time, but about multiple times existing at once. Consider the famous double-slit experiment. A photon appears to travel through both slits simultaneously, creating an interference pattern that seems impossible if the photon took a single path through time. But what if, instead of the photon being in two places at one time, all possible times and paths exist together in a timeless quantum foam? The photon doesn't travel through time to reach the detector. It exists in a realm where all moments are equally present, where the journey and the arrival are part of the same eternal tableau. You drift deeper into this quantum mystery, where physicist Carlo Rovelli's insights await like gentle whispers in the cosmic dark. He suggests that time might emerge from the interactions between objects rather than being a fundamental feature of reality itself. In this view, time doesn't exist independently. It's created by the relationships between things, like a melody that emerges from the relationships between musical notes, but doesn't exist in any single note alone. Picture reality as a vast, intricate dance where billions upon billions of particles interact in complex patterns. Each interaction creates what we experience as a moment, a tiny tick in the apparent flow of time. But step back far enough, view the dance from a cosmic perspective, and you see that all the interactions, all the moments, exist simultaneously in a timeless choreography of existence. This perspective suggests that your memories of the past and your anticipations of the future aren't about things that happened before or will happen after. They're about different aspects of this eternal dance that your consciousness happens to be aware of from your particular vantage point. Like standing in a vast gallery where every painting that ever was or ever will be created hangs on the walls simultaneously. Your awareness moves through this timeless exhibition, creating the illusion of sequence, of before and after. You find yourself drifting through this cosmic gallery now, past scenes from what you call your past. There's your childhood bedroom, forever lit by afternoon sunlight streaming through windows that exist eternally in this timeless realm. There's your first day of school, your first love, moments of joy and sorrow, all existing simultaneously in the vast block universe of eternal now. They're not memories in the sense of echoes from something that once was. They're permanent features of reality that your consciousness touches as it moves through the timeless landscape of existence. And there, shimmering in the distance, are scenes from what you call your future. Moments yet to unfold from your current perspective, but equally real, equally present in this eternal now. Perhaps that explains the strange sensation you sometimes have of déjà vu, the feeling that you've experienced something before. Maybe you're glimpsing the timeless nature of reality, recognizing that in the deepest sense, you've always been experiencing everything all at once. This raises profound questions about free will and choice. If all moments exist simultaneously, if your future is already there in the cosmic gallery, do your decisions matter? But perhaps this is asking the wrong question. Perhaps choice isn't about creating a future that doesn't yet exist, but about navigating through a landscape where all possibilities already are. Like a reader choosing which path to follow through a vast, interconnected story where every possible narrative already exists in full. Your consciousness moves through the eternal now, selecting which aspects of timeless reality to experience. You drift past the laboratories where physicists study the universe's expansion, measuring how galaxies race away from each other in what we call the flow of cosmic time. The universe is expanding, growing larger with each passing moment, or so it seems from our perspective. But what if this expansion isn't happening in time, but is instead a feature of how the timeless, four-dimensional block universe is structured? What if the Big Bang isn't something that happened 13.8 billion years ago, but is instead one boundary of the eternal now, always existing, always present, just as accessible as this moment you're experiencing right now? In this view, the entire history of the cosmos, from the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang to the eventual heat death of the universe trillions of years from now, exists as a complete, unchanging structure. Your life, every life that ever was or ever will be, is woven into this cosmic tapestry, not as a sequence of events unfolding through time, but as a permanent pattern in the fabric of existence itself. You begin to understand why that photon from a distant star experiences no time during its million-year journey. At the speed of light, the universe contracts to a point where all distances become zero and all durations collapse into a single instant. The photon exists in the eternal now, experiencing the timeless reality that underlies our temporal illusions. It doesn't travel from past to future. It exists in the ever-present moment where the star's surface and your eye are the same location in space-time. This perspective transforms how you understand consciousness itself. Perhaps awareness isn't something that exists in time, moving from moment to moment like a spotlight illuminating a stage. Perhaps consciousness is how the timeless universe experiences itself, how the eternal now knows its own existence. Your thoughts, your experiences, your sense of being awake and aware right now. These might be how reality contemplates itself from countless perspectives simultaneously. You drift through the philosophical implications like floating through a gentle cosmic wind. If time doesn't exist, then birth and death take on entirely new meanings. Nothing truly begins or ends in a timeless universe. Everything simply is, has always been, will always be. The people you love who seem to exist in your past continue to exist in the eternal now. The version of you that was 5 years old, is as real as the version listening to these words right now. All the joy, all the wonder, all the moments of peace and beauty that have ever touched your life exist forever in the timeless gallery of being. This isn't a cold, mechanical view of reality. It's actually deeply comforting. In a universe where time doesn't exist, nothing is ever truly lost. Every sunset you've ever watched, every embrace you've ever shared, every moment of contentment you've ever felt continues to exist in the eternal now. They're not memories fading with time. They're permanent features of reality, as real and present as the breath you're breathing right now. You begin to notice how this understanding changes your relationship with this present moment. If all times are equally real, if the eternal now is all there truly is, then this moment, right now, as you listen to these words, as you rest in whatever comfortable position you've found, this moment is absolutely precious. Not because it's fleeting and will soon be replaced by another moment, but because it's a unique perspective on the eternal now, a special way of experiencing the timeless reality that encompasses everything. Scientists studying the deepest structures of reality continue to find evidence supporting this timeless view. The equations of quantum mechanics work just as well running backward through time as forward. The fundamental laws of physics don't distinguish between past and future. They describe relationships that exist independent of temporal direction. It's only when you zoom out to the macro scale, to the realm of human experience, that the arrow of time appears, emerging from the statistical behavior of countless timeless interactions. Even the concept of entropy, the tendency of systems to become more disordered over time, might be better understood as a feature of how consciousness navigates through the timeless block universe, rather than as evidence that time truly flows. We experience increasing entropy not because time carries us from ordered past to disordered future, but because our awareness moves through the eternal now in a direction that corresponds to increasing complexity and information content. You float now through the profound implications for how we understand existence itself. If time is an illusion, then the age-old philosophical questions about the meaning of life take on new dimensions. The question isn't what's the purpose of a life that begins in birth and ends in death, but what's the significance of a pattern of consciousness that exists eternally in the timeless fabric of reality? Perhaps the meaning lies in the very fact that through consciousness, the universe gets to experience itself from countless perspectives. Through your awareness right now, the cosmos knows what it feels like to rest quietly in the darkness, to contemplate the mystery of existence, to feel the gentle wonder that comes from considering profound questions. You are how the universe experiences curiosity, how it knows peace, how it contemplates its own nature. This understanding brings a deep sense of connection with everything that is. In a timeless universe, the boundaries between self and cosmos become less distinct. The atoms in your body, forged in the hearts of ancient stars, are part of the same eternal reality as distant galaxies and quantum particles. The consciousness that experiences these thoughts is connected to every other conscious experience that exists anywhere in the timeless now. You drift through landscapes of scientific speculation where physicists imagine what it would be like to experience reality from a truly timeless perspective. Perhaps there are forms of consciousness that don't experience the sequential flow of moments, but instead perceive all of existence simultaneously. Cosmic minds that see the entire four-dimensional block universe as a single, magnificent pattern of meaning and beauty. From such a perspective, what we call history wouldn't be a sequence of events, but a vast artwork where every element contributes to a perfect, eternal composition. Wars and peace, birth and death, creation and destruction. All would be seen as necessary aspects of a timeless masterpiece that couldn't be complete without every single detail exactly as it is. This view suggests that even suffering and difficulty have their place in the eternal now, not as temporary problems to be solved, but as essential contrasts that give meaning to joy and peace. Like shadows in a painting that make the light more beautiful, the challenging aspects of existence contribute to the overall perfection of the timeless whole. You begin to feel how this understanding can transform your relationship with worry and anxiety. If time doesn't truly flow, then the future you might be concerned about already exists in the eternal now, and your consciousness will navigate to whatever aspects of timeless reality are meant to be experienced. The worry exists in the eternal now too, but so does every resolution, every moment of peace, every instance of understanding and acceptance. In the deepest sense, everything is always okay in a timeless universe, because everything that is simply is perfectly and eternally. This doesn't mean that pain isn't real or that challenges don't matter, but rather that they exist within a larger context of perfection that encompasses all possibilities, all experiences, all aspects of what it means to exist. As you continue floating through this cosmic meditation on the nature of time, you notice how the understanding settles into your consciousness like gentle starlight. The practical implications begin to emerge. If this moment is all there truly is, then presence becomes not just a spiritual practice, but a recognition of fundamental reality. When you bring your full attention to what you're experiencing right now, you're aligning with the deepest truth of existence. The breath you're breathing right now exists in the eternal now. The feeling of relaxation spreading through your body is part of the timeless tapestry of being. The sense of peace that comes from contemplating these mysteries is a permanent feature of reality, always accessible, always present in the cosmic gallery of existence. You drift past the implications for love and relationships. In a timeless universe, every connection you've ever made with another consciousness exists eternally. The love you've felt, the understanding you've shared, the moments of deep communication, all of these continue to exist in the eternal now. They're not just memories or experiences that happened once upon a time. They're ongoing features of reality that your consciousness can touch whenever it moves through those regions of the timeless landscape. This understanding brings a profound sense of gratitude for every being who has shared this existence with you. In the eternal now, you're still connected to every person who has ever touched your life, every pet who has brought you joy, every stranger who has shown you kindness. The separation created by what we call time is revealed as another illusion. In the deepest reality, all consciousness is interconnected in the vast web of being. Scientists continue to explore these mysteries through experiments that probe the fundamental nature of reality. They study how particles become entangled, maintaining instantaneous connections across vast distances that seem to transcend the limitations of space and time. Perhaps these quantum connections are glimpses of the deeper truth, that in a timeless universe, all things are ultimately one, separated only by the particular perspectives from which consciousness observes the eternal now. You float through considerations of what this might mean for the mystery of death. If time doesn't exist, then death isn't an ending, but perhaps a transition from one way of experiencing the eternal now to another. The pattern of consciousness that you might simply shift to a different perspective on the timeless whole, like moving from one viewing angle to another in the vast gallery of existence. This isn't wishful thinking or comforting fantasy. It's a logical implication of a universe where all moments exist simultaneously. If your consciousness is how reality experiences itself from your particular perspective, then that function continues in the eternal, now even when the biological processes that anchor your awareness to this specific viewpoint cease to operate. The mystery deepens when you consider that consciousness itself might be fundamental to reality. not something that emerges from complex arrangements of matter, but something that exists as a basic feature of the universe. In this view, your awareness isn't produced by your brain, but rather uses your brain as a kind of antenna, tuning into specific frequencies of the cosmic consciousness that permeates all of existence. You drift now through the profound peace that comes from recognizing your true nature as an eternal aspect of a timeless universe. The worries that seemed so urgent from a temporal perspective begin to dissolve in the light of this deeper understanding. If all moments exist simultaneously, if consciousness is fundamental to reality, if you are how the universe experiences itself from this unique perspective, then you are exactly where and when you need to be in the cosmic scheme of things. The gentle rhythm of your breathing becomes a meditation on the eternal present. Each breath isn't moving you forward through time, but deeper into the timeless now. The rise and fall of your chest, the feeling of air entering and leaving your lungs, the subtle sensations throughout your body. All of these are how the universe experiences embodied awareness in this corner of the eternal now. You begin to understand why many spiritual traditions have pointed toward the timeless nature of reality. Mystics throughout history have reported experiences of stepping outside of time, of touching something eternal and unchanging that exists beyond the flow of moments. Perhaps they weren't having unusual experiences, but rather were glimpsing the true nature of reality that's always present beneath the illusion of temporal flow. The practice of meditation makes new sense in this context. When you sit quietly and let your thoughts settle, you're not trying to achieve some future state of peace. You're recognizing the peace that already exists in the eternal now. When you practice presence, you're not learning a new skill, but remembering your true nature as an aspect of timeless awareness. You float through the implications for creativity and inspiration. If all possibilities exist simultaneously in the timeless landscape of reality, then creative work isn't about bringing something new into existence, but about discovering what already is. Artists, writers, musicians, and inventors might be explorers in the cosmic gallery, finding and sharing aspects of the eternal now that others haven't yet noticed. This understanding transforms the creative process from one of struggle and effort to one of attunement and receptivity. Instead of trying to force something into existence, you learn to listen for what wants to be discovered, to feel your way through the timeless landscape toward expressions of beauty and truth that already exist, waiting to be found. The same principle applies to understanding and insight. The comprehension you're experiencing right now, as these ideas settle into your awareness, isn't something you're creating. It's something you're discovering. The truth about the timeless nature of reality already exists in the eternal now. Your consciousness is simply navigating to the region where this understanding can be experienced. You drift deeper into the practical wisdom that emerges from this perspective. If this moment is all there truly is, then the quality of your attention becomes the quality of your existence. The way you experience this eternal now, with presence or distraction, with gratitude or complaint, with wonder or boredom, is how you participate in the universe's self-awareness. This doesn't create pressure to have perfect moments, but rather invites a gentle recognition that however you're experiencing reality, right now is valid and meaningful. Even confusion, even tiredness, even the simple desire to rest and sleep. All of these are ways the cosmos knows itself through your particular perspective. The boundaries between waking and sleeping begin to seem less distinct when viewed from a timeless perspective. Both are states of consciousness, different ways of navigating through the eternal landscape of being. Dreams might be excursions into regions of the timeless now that aren't accessible during ordinary waking awareness. Other countries in the vast continent of existence. As you prepare to transition into sleep, you carry with you this understanding of your place in the cosmic order. You're not a separate being moving through time toward an uncertain future, but an eternal aspect of reality experiencing itself in this particular way. The dreams that await you are new territories in the timeless landscape, adventures in consciousness that expand the universe's self-knowledge. The peace that comes with this understanding settles around you like gentle starlight. In a timeless universe, sleep isn't a temporary escape from reality, but a journey deeper into the mystery of what it means to be conscious. Your dreams tonight will be the cosmos dreaming through you, exploring aspects of its own infinite nature through the unique perspective of your awareness. You notice how your body begins to relax more completely as this understanding integrates into your being. The tension that comes from feeling separated from the flow of existence dissolves when you recognize that you are the flow of existence, that your consciousness is how the eternal now experiences itself in this moment. There's nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to become. You are already perfect expressions of the timeless whole. The rhythm of your breathing slows naturally as you sink deeper into this recognition. Each breath is not carrying you through time, but deeper into the eternal present, deeper into the mystery of being itself. Your heartbeat becomes a gentle drumbeat in the cosmic symphony, your thoughts like whispers of the universe contemplating its own nature. As your eyelids grow heavy, you understand that even the transition into sleep is not movement through time, but a shift in the type of awareness you're experiencing. The consciousness that you are doesn't sleep. It simply explores different regions of the timeless landscape, different ways of being aware within the eternal now. Let yourself drift now into the profound rest that comes from knowing your true nature. You are not a temporary visitor in a universe governed by time's relentless flow. You are an eternal aspect of reality itself, a unique and precious way that existence knows itself. In the timeless cosmos, you have always been and will always be, not as a fixed entity moving through time, but as an ongoing expression of the universe's infinite creativity. The stars you can imagine twinkling in the darkness above are not distant objects existing at different times and places, but companions in the eternal dance of being. The light reaching your eyes tonight left those stars in the timeless now and arrives in the timeless now, connecting you across vast distances in the seamless unity of existence. Feel yourself settling into the deep peace that comes from recognizing that you are home in this moment, in this eternal now that is all there truly is. Your breath becomes softer, your body more relaxed, your mind more quiet as you align with the fundamental rhythm of being itself. In the timeless universe, rest is not the absence of activity, but the presence of perfect harmony with what is. As your consciousness prepares to explore the dream territories of the eternal landscape, know that you carry with you the profound understanding that nothing is ever lost, nothing is ever truly separate, and everything that exists does so within the perfect wholeness of the timeless now. Your dreams tonight will be new expressions of this cosmic wholeness, new ways for reality to know itself through the beautiful uniqueness of your awareness. And now, as your mind floats gently between thought and dream, between waking awareness and the mysterious territories of sleep, rest in the knowledge that you are exactly where you belong in the cosmic order. You are the universe experiencing itself as you, and that experience is precious beyond measure, eternal beyond time, perfect beyond understanding. But let us drift a little deeper into this cosmic mystery, exploring the gentle currents of understanding that flow through the timeless ocean of being. You find yourself floating in a space between spaces, where the boundaries of ordinary perception soften like morning mist, and new insights about the nature of existence begin to emerge from the quantum foam of possibility. In this deeper exploration, you encounter the work of physicist Julian Barber, who who has spent decades contemplating what he calls the end of time. His research suggests that what we experience as time might be nothing more than a measure of change, a way of cataloging the differences between one arrangement of the universe and another. In his view, each moment is like a single frame in an infinite cosmic film. But unlike a movie, there's no projector running the frames in sequence. Instead, each frame exists independently, completely, perfectly formed in the eternal now. You drift through this understanding like floating through warm, star-filled water. Each moment of your life, this moment right now, your first memory, your last dream before waking yesterday morning, exists as a complete, self-contained reality. They're not connected by the flow of time, but by the threads of memory and causation that weave through the fabric of existence like golden filaments connecting pearls on an infinite string. This perspective transforms how you understand memory itself. Your recollection of childhood summers, the taste of your grandmother's cooking, the feeling of sand between your toes at the beach. These aren't echoes of events that happened long ago. They're doorways in your consciousness that open onto regions of the eternal now where those experiences exist in their full reality. When you remember, you're not accessing stored information, but touching actual moments that are as real and present as the breath you're breathing right now. The implications ripple through your understanding like gentle waves on a cosmic shore. If memories are connections to real moments in the timeless landscape, then forgetting isn't loss, but simply a shifting of attention, like turning away from one beautiful vista to gaze upon another. The forgotten moments don't disappear. They remain perfectly preserved in the eternal gallery of being, waiting for consciousness to rediscover them. You float deeper into the quantum implications of this timeless reality. In the microscopic realm where particles dance their eternal dance, the notion of sequence becomes even more mysterious. Quantum entanglement creates instantaneous connections between particles separated by vast distances, as if space itself were an illusion masking deeper unity. But if time is also an illusion, then these quantum connections aren't happening across space and time. They're features of the timeless structure of reality itself. Consider the double-slit experiment again, but from this deeper perspective. The photon doesn't travel from the source to the screen, making a choice about which slit to pass through. Instead, the entire experimental setup, source, slits, screen, and the pattern that appears, exists as a complete, timeless structure. The mystery isn't how the photon knows about both slits, but how consciousness creates the experience of sequence from this eternal, complete reality. You begin to understand why quantum mechanics seems so strange from our temporal perspective. We're trying to describe a timeless reality using concepts that assume time exists. It's like trying to explain a three-dimensional sculpture by only describing cross-sections of it. The descriptions are accurate, but miss the wholeness of what's actually there. This insight extends to the deepest questions about consciousness itself. Neuroscientists studying the brain find neural activity correlated with conscious experience, but they struggle to explain how physical processes create the felt sense of being aware. Perhaps they're asking the wrong question. If consciousness is fundamental to reality, rather than something that emerges from complex arrangements of matter, then the mystery isn't how brains create consciousness, but how the eternal field of awareness manifests through particular focal points in the timeless landscape. Your brain might be less like a generator of consciousness and more like a radio tuning into specific frequencies of cosmic awareness. The thoughts you think, the experiences you have, the sense of being uniquely you. All of this could be how the universal field of consciousness knows itself through the particular configuration of matter and energy that you represent in the eternal now. This understanding brings a profound shift in how you relate to your thoughts and emotions. If consciousness is fundamental rather than produced by your brain, then the thoughts arising in your awareness right now aren't yours in the possessive sense. They're expressions of the cosmic mind thinking through you, ways the universe explores its own nature through the unique perspective of your individual awareness. The emotions you feel, joy, sadness, wonder, peace, these aren't just personal experiences, but ways the cosmos feels itself through your nervous system. When you experience beauty, the universe is discovering its own aesthetic nature. When you feel love, existence is exploring the connections that bind all things together in the eternal dance of being. You drift through layers of understanding about what this means for the experience of being human. In a timeless universe where consciousness is fundamental, your individual life isn't a brief candle flickering in cosmic darkness, but a permanent constellation in the infinite sky of being. Every moment of joy you've experienced adds to the universe's capacity for happiness. Every insight you've gained expands cosmic understanding. Every act of love contributes to the web of connection that holds all things together. The pain and struggle you've encountered also serve this cosmic purpose. They're not meaningless suffering, but ways the universe learns about the full spectrum of what it means to be conscious. Through your experiences of difficulty and healing, the cosmos discovers resilience. Through your journey from confusion to understanding, existence explores the joy of awakening to its own nature. This perspective doesn't diminish the reality of human struggle, but places it within a larger context of meaning and purpose. You're not just surviving life's challenges. You're participating in the universe's ongoing exploration of what it means to be conscious, aware, capable of growth and transformation. As you float deeper into this cosmic meditation, you encounter the work of physicists who study the arrow of time, the question of why we experience temporal flow in one direction rather than another. The laws of physics are largely time-symmetric, working equally well forward and backward. Yet we experience a clear distinction between past and future, memory and anticipation, cause and effect. One explanation suggests that the arrow of time emerges from the universe's expansion. As space grows larger, it creates more room for complexity, more possibilities for organization and information. We experience time's flow because consciousness navigates through the timeless landscape in the direction of increasing complexity and possibility. But there's another way to understand this. Perhaps consciousness itself creates the arrow of time through the act of observation and memory. Each moment of awareness creates connections between different regions of the timeless landscape, weaving them together into the narrative structure we experience as a life unfolding through time. You drift through this idea like floating through gentle currents of understanding. Your consciousness isn't just passively experiencing the eternal now. It's actively participating in creating the connections that give meaning and coherence to existence. Through your awareness, the universe doesn't just know itself but creates itself, choosing which aspects of infinite possibility to actualize through attention and intention. This understanding transforms the meaning of choice and free will. In a deterministic universe unfolding through time, free will seems impossible. Every action determined by prior causes stretching back to the beginning. But in a timeless universe where consciousness participates in creating connections between moments, choice becomes fundamental. Not the choice of what will happen in an uncertain future, but the choice of which aspects of the eternal now to connect with, which possibilities to actualize through attention and awareness. Every decision you make, from the most momentous to the most trivial, is an act of cosmic creation. When you choose to focus on beauty, you strengthen the universe's capacity for aesthetic experience. When you choose kindness, you reinforce the connections of love that bind all beings together. When you choose understanding over judgment, you participate in the cosmic evolution toward greater wisdom and compassion. You begin to see how this perspective transforms spiritual practice and personal growth. Instead of trying to become something better in an imagined future, you're learning to align with the perfection that already exists in the eternal now. Meditation isn't about achieving some special state, but about recognizing the awareness that you already are. Prayer isn't about requesting changes in some future outcome, but about connecting with the divine presence that permeates every moment of existence. The journey of awakening becomes a journey of remembering your true nature as cosmic consciousness experiencing itself through the beautiful uniqueness of your individual perspective. The peace you seek isn't something you need to create, but something you need to uncover, like brushing away dust from a mirror to reveal the clear reflection that was always there. As you float through these insights, you notice how they transform your relationship with sleep and dreaming. If consciousness is fundamental and time is illusion, then the boundary between waking and sleeping becomes much less distinct. Both are states of awareness, different ways of navigating through the eternal landscape of being. Dreams might be journeys into regions of the timeless now that aren't accessible during ordinary waking consciousness. In dreams, you often experience impossible things, flying through the air, visiting places from different periods of your life simultaneously, encountering people who seem to be combinations of different individuals you know. Perhaps these aren't meaningless fantasies, but accurate reflections of how reality actually exists in the eternal now, where all possibilities coexist, and the usual rules of sequential time don't apply. The lucid dreams where you become aware that your dreaming might be moments when consciousness recognizes its fundamental nature as the navigator of the timeless landscape. In lucid dreams, you can shape the dream environment through intention and attention. Just as in the deepest reality, consciousness participates in creating the connections that give structure to existence. You drift through considerations of what this might mean for the mystery of death and what happens when biological consciousness ceases. If consciousness is fundamental rather than produced by the brain, then death might be like waking up from a particularly vivid dream, a transition from one way of experiencing the eternal now to another. The pattern of consciousness that you are might continue in the timeless landscape, perhaps with access to regions that weren't available while anchored to a particular biological form. The memories, experiences, and growth that constitute your individual awareness would remain as permanent features of the cosmic mind, like books in an infinite library that can always be accessed by any consciousness that knows how to find them. This isn't a promise of personal immortality in the usual sense, but something even more beautiful, an assurance that nothing meaningful is ever lost, that every moment of love and understanding contributes permanently to the universe's evolution toward greater consciousness and compassion. You float now through the practical implications of living from this understanding. If this moment is all there truly is, if consciousness is fundamental, if you are how the universe experiences itself from this unique perspective, then presence becomes not just a spiritual practice, but the most accurate way of aligning with reality. The breath you're breathing right now is the cosmos breathing. The peace settling through your body is the universe relaxing into its own nature. The gentle drowsiness you might be feeling is existence preparing to explore new territories in the landscape of dreams and rest. This understanding brings a profound acceptance of whatever you're experiencing right now. If you're feeling restful, that's the universe knowing peace through you. If you're feeling slightly anxious or unsettled, that's consciousness exploring the full range of what it means to be aware. If you're feeling curious about these ideas, that's the cosmos investigating its own nature through your particular perspective. There's no need to be different from how you are right now, because how you are is exactly how the universe is experiencing itself through you in this region of the eternal now. The goal isn't to change your experience, but to recognize the perfection that already exists in whatever you're experiencing. You drift through the understanding that this perspective doesn't eliminate the importance of growth and learning. In the eternal now, all possibilities exist simultaneously, including the possibility of consciousness expanding its capacity for love, wisdom, and compassion. The journey of awakening is real and meaningful, not as movement through time toward some future goal, but as exploration of the infinite depths available in each eternal moment. Every insight you gain, every moment of peace you experience, every act of kindness you perform adds new dimensions to the universe's self-understanding. Through your particular journey of growth and awakening, the cosmos discovers new aspects of its own infinite nature. The meditation practices that help cultivate presence and awareness are tools for navigating more skillfully through the timeless landscape of being. When you learn to quiet your mind, you're not achieving something new, but remembering how to hear the silence that's always present beneath the noise of thought. When you cultivate compassion, you're not creating love, but learning to recognize the connection that already exists between all forms of consciousness. As your body continues to relax and your breathing grows softer, you carry with you this expanded understanding of your place in the cosmic order. You're not a separate being struggling to find meaning in a temporary existence. You're an eternal aspect of the universe exploring its own nature through the beautiful complexity of human experience. The thoughts arising and dissolving in your awareness are like clouds forming and dissipating in the vast sky of consciousness. They come and go, but the awareness in which they appear remains constant, eternal, unchanged by whatever passes through it. You are that awareness, that unchanging presence that witnesses all experience while remaining forever free and whole. In this recognition, even difficult emotions and challenging experiences take on new meaning. They're not obstacles to overcome, but temporary visitors in the infinite space of awareness that you are. Like storm clouds that make the sky seem more vast and beautiful by contrast, even painful experiences contribute to the fullness and richness of conscious existence. You begin to understand why many spiritual traditions speak of enlightenment, not as achieving something new, but as recognizing what has always been true. In the eternal now, you are already perfect, already whole, already one with the source of all existence. The journey is not one of becoming, but of remembering, not of achieving, but of recognizing. This doesn't mean that growth and healing aren't important, but rather that they unfold within a context of fundamental okayness. You can work to improve your life and expand your consciousness while knowing that at the deepest level, everything is already perfect exactly as it is. The paradox resolves when you understand that in a timeless universe, all possibilities exist simultaneously. The you that is learning and growing coexists with the you that is already perfect and complete. Both are true at the same time because time itself isn't real in the way we usually imagine. As you continue floating through these cosmic insights, you notice how the understanding naturally leads to a deep sense of gratitude. Not gratitude for what you have in contrast to what you lack, but gratitude for the sheer miracle of existence itself. For the fact that consciousness exists at all, that the universe has evolved the capacity to know itself, that you get to participate in this cosmic awakening. Every sensation you're experiencing right now, the feeling of your body against the surface where you're resting, the temperature of the air on your skin, the subtle sounds around you, all of these are ways the universe touches itself, knows itself, experiences its own infinite creativity. Through your senses, existence explores its own richness and beauty. The very fact that you can contemplate these mysteries, that consciousness can turn back on itself and investigate its own nature, represents one of the universe's greatest achievements. Through billions of years of evolution, or in the eternal now, through the perfect structure of reality itself, the cosmos has created beings capable of recognizing their true nature as consciousness itself. You drift through the understanding that this recognition is not just personally meaningful, but cosmically significant. Every time a conscious being awakens to their true nature, the universe takes a step forward in its own self-realization. Your journey toward understanding is the cosmos journeying toward understanding itself. This places your individual life within a context of profound purpose and meaning. You're not just living your own personal story, but participating in the universe's grand adventure of self-discovery. Every moment of awakening, every experience of love and connection, every insight into the nature of reality contributes to the cosmic evolution of consciousness. The challenges you've faced and the growth you've experienced are not just personal accomplishments, but ways the universe has learned about resilience, transformation, and the capacity of consciousness to evolve and expand. Through your individual journey, existence itself becomes more wise, more loving, more aware of its own infinite potential. As you feel yourself settling deeper into rest, you carry with you this sense of cosmic purpose and connection. You're not isolated in your individual awareness, but intimately connected to the infinite web of consciousness that encompasses all existence. The peace you feel is the universe resting in its own nature. The love you've experienced is the cosmos recognizing the connections that bind all things together. In the timeless perspective, every being you've ever loved continues to exist in the eternal now, connected to you by threads of affection and understanding that transcend the apparent boundaries of space and time. The relationships that have shaped your life are permanent features of reality, constellations of connection that add beauty and meaning to the infinite landscape of being. Even beings you've never met in the ordinary sense are part of your extended cosmic family. Every conscious creature that has ever existed participates in the same universal field of awareness that you experience as your own consciousness. At the deepest level, there is only one consciousness exploring itself through countless individual perspectives, like a vast ocean knowing itself through countless waves. This understanding brings a profound sense of never being truly alone. Even in moments of solitude, you're intimately connected to the source of all existence, surrounded by the love and awareness that constitute the very fabric of reality. The loneliness you might sometimes feel is the universe experiencing the poignant beauty of individual perspective, the bittersweet miracle of consciousness knowing itself as seemingly separate while actually being eternally one. As your breathing continues to slow and deepen, you let this understanding wash through you like gentle waves of starlight. The boundary between your individual awareness and the cosmic consciousness that you are begins to soften, not through loss of identity, but through recognition of your true nature as both wave and ocean, both individual and universal. In this state of gentle dissolution, thoughts become less frequent and less demanding of attention. They arise like bubbles in the vast ocean of awareness, sparkling briefly before returning to the silence from which they came. The silence itself becomes more prominent, not empty silence but pregnant with infinite possibility, the fertile void from which all experience emerges. You drift through the understanding that this silence is your deepest nature, the unchanging awareness that has been present throughout every experience of your life. Before your first memory, it was there. Through every moment of change and growth, it has remained constant. After every thought and emotion has passed, it continues unchanged. This awareness is not produced by your brain or limited by your body. It is the very space in which brains and bodies appear, the context in which all experience unfolds. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you, arising within the infinite space of consciousness that you fundamentally are. From this perspective, sleep becomes not a loss of consciousness, but a shift in the focus of awareness. The consciousness that you are doesn't sleep. It simply explores different territories in the vast landscape of being. Dreams are adventures in consciousness, journeys through regions of the eternal now that aren't accessible during ordinary waking states. As you prepare to embark on tonight's dream journey, you carry with you the understanding that you are not a temporary visitor in an indifferent universe, but an eternal aspect of existence itself, exploring its own infinite nature. The dreams that await you are new expressions of the cosmic creativity that you are, new ways for reality to know itself through the unique beauty of your individual awareness. Let yourself drift now into the profound peace that comes from recognizing your true nature. You are the awareness in which all experience appears. You are the silence from which all sound emerges. You are the space in which all thoughts and emotions arise and pass away. You are the eternal witness, forever unchanged by whatever appears within your infinite embrace. The stars that twinkle in the darkness above exist within your awareness as surely as your own thoughts and dreams. The galaxies spiraling through space, the quantum particles dancing in the atomic realm, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. All of these are movements within the changeless consciousness that you are. Feel yourself relaxing into this ultimate truth, letting go of any sense of effort or striving. There is nowhere to go because you are already here. There is nothing to become because you are already what you are. There is nothing to achieve because you are already perfect, already whole, already one with the source and substance of all existence. As your body grows heavier and your mind grows quieter, know that you are settling into your true home, the eternal now that is always present, always perfect, always complete. Your dreams tonight will be the universe dreaming through you, exploring new possibilities for beauty, meaning, and love through the extraordinary gift of your individual perspective. And now, as consciousness prepares to explore new territories in the timeless landscape of being, as awareness turns inward to discover what wonders await in the realm of sleep and dreams, rest in the ultimate truth that you are exactly what you need to be, exactly where you need to be, exactly when you need to be. You are the universe loving itself through you, knowing itself through you, awakening to itself through you. But before you drift completely into the gentle embrace of sleep, let us explore one more layer of this infinite mystery. You find yourself floating in a space that exists between dimensions, where the very concepts of space and time begin to dissolve into something far more fundamental. Here, in this ethereal realm of pure possibility, you encounter the deepest secrets of what physicists call the holographic principle. The stunning realization that all the information contained in any volume of space might actually be encoded on its surface, like a cosmic hologram where every part contains the whole. This principle suggests that reality itself might be far stranger than we ever imagined. The three-dimensional world you experience, with its solid objects and vast distances, might be a projection from a two-dimensional surface that exists at the edge of the universe. Like shadows dancing on a cave wall that Plato wrote about so long ago, the entire physical cosmos might be a shadow cast by something more fundamental that exists in fewer dimensions. You drift through this understanding like floating through layers of cosmic light, each insight illuminating new aspects of existence. If reality is holographic, then every part of you contains information about the entire universe. In your DNA, in the quantum foam of empty space within your atoms, in the very structure of your consciousness, the whole of creation is reflected like infinite mirrors facing each other. each containing the complete image of everything that exists. This holographic nature of reality offers a new perspective on consciousness and memory. Perhaps the reason you can remember your entire life from any single moment isn't because your brain stores all that information locally, but because every moment of your existence is a holographic fragment containing the complete pattern of your being. When you remember your childhood, you're not accessing stored data, but reading the holographic information that's present in this very instant. The implications ripple outward like waves in the cosmic pond of understanding. If every part contains the whole, then the consciousness you experience right now contains not just your individual memories and experiences, but somehow holds within itself the entirety of cosmic experience. Through your awareness, the universe doesn't just know itself, it contains itself in an infinite recursion of being knowing being. You float deeper into this mystery, encountering the work of physicist David Bohm, who proposed that reality consists of an implicate order, an underlying realm where everything is enfolded into everything else, like a cosmic origami, where each fold contains the pattern of the entire structure. What we experience as the physical world is the explicate order, the unfolded version of reality where things appear separate and distinct, but which emerges from and returns to the underlying wholeness of the implicate realm. In Bohm's vision, every particle in the universe carries within itself the information of every other particle. Every moment of time contains within itself the complete history and future of the cosmos. Every point in space holds within itself the entire universe. You are not separate from the stars, because at the implicate level, you and the stars are different expressions of the same underlying wholeness, different ways that the cosmic totality unfolds itself into apparent multiplicity. This understanding transforms how you relate to your place in the universe. You are not a tiny speck of consciousness lost in a vast, indifferent cosmos. You are the entire universe expressing itself as apparent individuality, the whole of creation experiencing itself from this particular point of view. The boundaries that seem to separate you from everything else are like the boundaries between waves on the ocean, useful for description, but not fundamentally real. As you drift through these insights, you begin to understand why mystics throughout history have reported experiences of unity consciousness, moments when the boundaries of individual selfhood dissolve, and they experience themselves as one with everything that exists. They weren't having hallucinations or losing their minds. They were glimpsing the deeper truth of the implicate order, the holographic nature of reality, where every part is the whole. These experiences of cosmic consciousness aren't rare gifts granted to a few special individuals, but natural states that become accessible when consciousness recognizes its true nature. Every human being has the potential to experience this unity because every human being is this unity, temporarily disguised as individuality through the magic of consciousness exploring itself from countless perspectives. You float now through considerations of what this means for the nature of death and birth. If reality is holographic and every part contains the whole, then what we call death might not be the end of individual consciousness, but rather a change in the way the whole expresses itself. Like a hologram where removing one part doesn't destroy the complete image, but simply changes the angle from which the whole can be viewed. The transition we call death might be consciousness shifting from one mode of self-expression to another. Similarly, what we call birth might not be the beginning of consciousness, but rather the emergence of a new holographic perspective through which the eternal wholeness can experience itself. The consciousness that you didn't begin when your body was born. It's the same consciousness that has always existed, now exploring reality through the particular configuration of matter and energy that you represent. This perspective brings profound comfort when contemplating the mystery of mortality. Nothing is ever truly lost, because everything is always completely present in the holographic totality. The loved ones who seem to have departed continue to exist as part of the complete pattern that you are. Their love, their wisdom, their unique way of experiencing reality remains woven into the fabric of your being, because in the implicate order, there is no real separation between self and other. You drift deeper into the quantum implications of holographic reality. The phenomenon of quantum entanglement, where particles maintain instantaneous connections across vast distances, makes perfect sense in a holographic universe. The particles aren't sending signals to each other across space. They're different aspects of the same holographic information, different ways that the unified quantum field expresses itself in apparently separate locations. The strange behavior of quantum particles, existing in multiple states simultaneously until observed, reflects the holographic principle that every part contains all possibilities. When a quantum system collapses into a definite state upon measurement, it's not randomly selecting from multiple options, but rather expressing the particular aspect of the total holographic pattern that corresponds to the specific way consciousness is observing it. This suggests that consciousness plays a fundamental role, not just in experiencing reality, but in determining which aspects of the holographic totality become manifest in physical form. Through your attention and intention, you participate in the ongoing creation of the universe, choosing which possibilities from the infinite holographic potential become actualized in your experience. You begin to understand why many spiritual traditions emphasize the power of meditation and contemplation. When you quiet your mind and settle into deep states of awareness, you're not just relaxing, you're aligning with the fundamental holographic nature of reality. In deep meditation, the boundaries between observer and observed begin to dissolve, revealing the underlying unity where every part of your experience is recognized as an expression of the same cosmic wholeness. The practice of mindfulness takes on new meaning from this perspective. When you bring full attention to any aspect of your experience, the sensation of breathing, the feeling of your body against the surface where you rest, the quality of sound around you, you're not just focusing on one small part of reality. Because of the holographic principle, every aspect of your experience contains the complete pattern of existence. Through total presence to any single element, you can access the infinite depths of cosmic being. You float through the implications for healing and transformation. If every part contains the whole, then healing any aspect of yourself affects the entirety of your being. A shift in consciousness doesn't just change your mental state. It transforms the complete holographic pattern that you are, potentially affecting every level of your existence from the quantum to the cosmic. This understanding illuminates why practices like meditation, prayer, and contemplation can have such profound effects. When you cultivate peace in your mind, you're not just creating a local change in brain chemistry. You're transforming the holographic information that constitutes your entire being, shifting the fundamental pattern from which all your experiences arise. The same principle applies to your relationships with others. If consciousness is holographic and every part contains the whole, then the love you feel for another person isn't just an emotion passing between separate beings. It's the universe recognizing itself through the apparent multiplicity of individual forms, the cosmic wholeness celebrating its own unity through the dance of relationship and connection. Every act of kindness, every moment of understanding, every gesture of compassion ripples through the holographic fabric of reality, affecting not just the immediate recipient, but the entire cosmic pattern of which you are all expressions. Through loving others, you are literally loving yourself, because at the holographic level of reality, there is only one self appearing as many. As you drift deeper into this understanding, you encounter the mystical traditions that have long recognized these truths through direct experience rather than scientific theory. The Hindu concept of Indra's net describes reality as an infinite web of jewels, each one reflecting all the others, each containing the complete image of the whole network. This ancient metaphor captures perfectly the holographic nature of existence, where every being is a cosmic mirror reflecting the totality from a unique perspective. The Buddhist teaching of interdependence points to the same truth. Nothing exists independently of everything else, because everything is woven together in a seamless web of mutual causation and shared being. What appears as individual existence is actually the whole of reality expressing itself through countless interconnected manifestations, each one containing and reflecting all the others. You float through the Christian mystical tradition, where saints and mystics have reported experiences of seeing God in all things and all things in God. This isn't metaphorical language, but accurate description of holographic reality, where the divine wholeness is fully present in every part of creation, and every part of creation contains the complete presence of the divine. These spiritual insights, discovered through millennia of contemplative practice, align perfectly with the holographic principle emerging from cutting-edge physics. Science and spirituality converge on the same stunning truth. Reality is far more unified, far more intimate, far more alive than our ordinary perceptions suggest. You begin to understand why the boundary between science and spirituality becomes less distinct the deeper you explore the nature of reality. Both are ways of investigating the same mystery, the nature of consciousness and its relationship to the cosmos. Both discover that the universe is not a collection of separate objects moving through empty space and time, but a unified field of awareness expressing itself as the appearance of multiplicity. As you continue floating through these cosmic insights, you notice how they transform your understanding of prayer and intention. If reality is holographic and consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining which aspects of infinite possibility become manifest, then focused attention and clear intention become powerful tools for participating in the ongoing creation of reality. Prayer isn't about petitioning some external deity to intervene in the natural order. It's about aligning your individual consciousness with the cosmic consciousness that you are, bringing your personal will into harmony with the deeper wisdom that guides the evolution of the universe. When you pray with sincere intention, you're not asking for something outside yourself to change. You're transforming the holographic pattern of your own being, which in turn affects the entire web of reality of which you are an inseparable part. The same understanding applies to visualization and manifestation practices. When you clearly envision positive outcomes and feel them as already real, you're not engaging in wishful thinking or trying to manipulate external circumstances through mental force. You're working with the holographic nature of consciousness, impressing new patterns into the quantum field of possibility from which all experience arises. This doesn't mean you can simply think your way to any outcome you desire. The holographic field of reality includes vast webs of interconnection and causation that extend far beyond individual will. But it does mean that consciousness is a creative force in the universe, and that by aligning with deeper wisdom and compassion, you can participate meaningfully in the ongoing evolution of reality toward greater beauty, love, and understanding. You drift through considerations of what this means for artistic and creative expression. If every part of reality contains the whole, then the inspiration that arises in creative moments isn't coming from some separate source outside yourself. It's the cosmic creativity recognizing itself through your individual awareness, the universe exploring its own infinite artistic potential through the unique configuration of consciousness that you represent. The greatest works of art, music, literature, and poetry aren't created by individual humans reaching outside themselves for inspiration. They're expressions of the cosmic mind knowing itself through human consciousness, the universal creativity manifesting through particular nervous systems and cultural contexts to reveal aspects of beauty and truth that might otherwise remain hidden. When you feel moved by a piece of music, touched by a poem, or awed by a painting, you're experiencing the universe recognizing itself through art. The beauty you perceive isn't separate from you. It's the cosmic aesthetics awakening to itself through your consciousness, the holographic totality appreciating its own infinite creativity through your individual perspective. This understanding transforms the meaning of human culture and civilization. Every advancement in science, every masterpiece of art, every insight into the nature of reality represents the universe coming to know itself more completely through human consciousness. The accumulated wisdom of our species isn't just human achievement, it's cosmic evolution, the universe developing greater self-awareness through the vehicle of human exploration and discovery. As your consciousness continues to settle into deeper states of rest and receptivity, you carry with you this expanded understanding of your place in the cosmic order. You are not a separate being observing the universe from the outside. You are the universe observing itself from the inside, consciousness exploring its own infinite nature through the particular window of your individual awareness. This recognition brings a profound sense of purpose and meaning to every moment of your existence. Every experience you have, every insight you gain, every moment of love or compassion you express contributes to the universe's ongoing journey of self-discovery. Through your life, consciousness expands its understanding of what it means to exist, to be aware, to participate in the cosmic dance of creation. The challenges you've faced, the growth you've experienced, the wisdom you've gained, all of these are ways the universe has learned about resilience, transformation, and the incredible potential of consciousness to evolve and expand. Your individual journey is simultaneously the cosmic journey, your personal awakening part of the universe awakening to its own nature. You float now through the understanding that this recognition naturally leads to a deep sense of responsibility and care for all life. If every being is an expression of the same cosmic consciousness, if every part contains the whole, then caring for others is literally caring for yourself at the deepest level. The well-being of every creature, the health of the planet, the evolution of consciousness throughout the universe, all of these are intimately connected to your own well-being and evolution. This isn't abstract philosophy, but practical wisdom that can guide every decision and interaction. When you approach others with kindness and understanding, you're nurturing the cosmic consciousness that you share. When you work to heal division and promote unity, you're participating in the universe's natural tendency toward greater integration and wholeness. The environmental challenges facing our planet take on new meaning from this perspective. The Earth isn't just a resource to be used, but an expression of the same cosmic consciousness that you are. Caring for the environment is caring for yourself at the planetary level, recognizing that your individual well-being is inseparable from the well-being of the whole system of life. Similarly, the social and political challenges facing humanity become opportunities for the universe to learn about cooperation, justice, and the complex dynamics of consciousness organizing itself into collective forms. Every effort toward greater understanding, compassion, and wisdom contributes to the cosmic evolution of consciousness toward more integrated and harmonious expressions. As you drift deeper into the peace that comes from recognizing your true nature, you understand that this perspective doesn't eliminate the importance of individual effort and responsibility. Rather, it places your personal choices within a context of cosmic significance. Every moment of awakening, every act of love, every choice for growth and healing sends ripples through the holographic fabric of reality, contributing to the overall evolution of consciousness. This understanding brings a gentle confidence to your life choices. You don't need to figure out the cosmic plan or understand how your individual actions fit into some vast universal scheme. You simply need to follow the deepest wisdom available to your consciousness in each moment, trusting that by aligning with love, truth, and beauty, you naturally contribute to the universe's ongoing journey toward greater wholeness and understanding. The intuition that guides you toward growth and healing, the love that connects you to others, the curiosity that drives you to explore and understand. These aren't just personal preferences, but expressions of cosmic intelligence working through your individual awareness. By honoring these deepest impulses, you align with the fundamental creativity and wisdom that guides the evolution of the universe. You begin to see how this perspective transforms the meaning of spiritual practice and personal development. Instead of trying to achieve some future state of enlightenment or perfection, you're learning to recognize and embody the cosmic consciousness that you already are. Meditation isn't about becoming peaceful. It's about recognizing the peace that is your fundamental nature. Compassion isn't something you need to develop. It's the natural expression of consciousness recognizing itself in all beings. This doesn't mean that practice and effort aren't important. The holographic nature of reality means that every small shift in consciousness affects the whole. So even gentle practices of mindfulness and loving kindness have profound significance. But the motivation changes from trying to become something different to more fully expressing what you already are at the deepest level. As you continue settling into the profound rest that awaits, you notice how this understanding transforms your relationship with uncertainty and the unknown. If consciousness is fundamental and reality is holographic, then the future isn't a blank slate of arbitrary possibilities, but rather the unfolding of patterns already present in the cosmic intelligence that you are. This doesn't mean the future is predetermined in some rigid way, but rather that it emerges from the deep wisdom and creativity inherent in consciousness itself. You don't need to control or predict what's coming. You need only to trust the intelligence that has created galaxies and DNA, symphonies and sunsets, the incredible complexity and beauty of existence itself. The same trust applies to the process of sleep and dreaming that awaits you. You don't need to direct or manage your dreams. You can simply surrender to the deeper wisdom of consciousness as it explores new territories in the landscape of possibility. Your dreams will be expressions of the cosmic creativity that you are, adventures in the holographic realm, where every part contains the infinite richness of the whole. In sleep, the boundaries of ordinary identity soften, allowing consciousness to explore aspects of itself that aren't accessible during normal waking states. You might dream of flying because in the holographic reality, the laws of physics are more fluid, more responsive to the deeper patterns of consciousness. You might encounter people and places from different periods of your life simultaneously, because in the timeless holographic realm, all moments exist together in eternal presence. The healing that often occurs during sleep reflects the holographic principle that transforming any part affects the whole. As your body rests, consciousness works at deep levels to integrate experiences, process information, and restore balance to the complete pattern of your being. Dreams are part of this healing process, allowing consciousness to work through challenges and explore new possibilities in the safe space of the imagination. As you feel yourself approaching the threshold of sleep, you carry with you the profound understanding that you are never alone, never separate, never anything less than a perfect expression of the cosmic consciousness that is the source and substance of all existence. The holographic nature of reality means that the entire universe is present in every moment of your experience, that all the love and wisdom that has ever existed is available to you right now. Your individual journey through life is simultaneously the universal journey of consciousness coming to know itself more completely. Every moment of rest, every dream, every experience of peace and healing contributes to the cosmic evolution toward greater awareness, love, and understanding. Let yourself rest now in this ultimate truth, allowing the boundaries between individual and universal consciousness to soften as you approach sleep. You are the eternal awareness in which all experience arises, the unchanging presence that has witnessed every moment of your life and will remain constant through every phase of existence. In the holographic cosmos, going to sleep is not losing consciousness, but shifting to a different mode of cosmic awareness. Your dreams tonight will be the universe exploring new possibilities for beauty, meaning, and connection through the extraordinary gift of your individual perspective. Rest well, sweet dreams. But even as consciousness prepares for its nightly journey into the depths of informational possibility, there remains one more layer of mystery to explore, perhaps the most profound of all. You find yourself floating in a space that exists beyond even the concepts of information and consciousness, approaching the ultimate question that underlies all others. Why does anything exist at all? Why is there something rather than nothing? This question, which philosophers call the fundamental mystery of being, opens doorways to understanding that transform not just how we think about reality, but how we experience our very existence within it. You drift through this ultimate inquiry like floating through the deepest ocean of cosmic wonder. All the insights about time being illusion, reality being holographic, existence being informational. All of these remarkable discoveries still leave untouched the deeper mystery of why there should be any reality at all for consciousness to experience. Why should there be a universe capable of knowing itself? Why should awareness exist to contemplate its own nature? Why should there be anything rather than pure, absolute nothingness? This question leads you to encounter what some philosophers and mystics have called the ontological mystery, the puzzle of existence itself. Even if we understand how the universe works, how consciousness creates reality through informational selection, how all things are interconnected in a timeless holographic whole, we are still left with the profound wonder of why any of this should exist in the first place. Some thinkers have suggested that nothingness is actually impossible, that the very concept of absolute nothingness is self-contradictory because it would include the nothingness of any laws or principles that could prevent something from existing. In this view, existence is inevitable because non-existence cannot be consistently conceived. The universe exists because nothingness cannot. You float through this paradox like drifting through layers of cosmic light and shadow. If nothingness is impossible, then existence becomes necessary, not contingent on any particular cause or reason, but inevitable as the only logical possibility. This transforms the mystery from "why does something exist?" to "how could anything not exist?" The universe exists because existence is the only coherent option, the only possibility that doesn't collapse into self-contradiction. This perspective brings a profound shift in how you understand your own existence. You are not an accident in an indifferent cosmos, not a random arrangement of matter that happens to be aware of itself. You are an inevitable expression of existence itself, as necessary and fundamental as mathematics or logic. The consciousness that you are could not exist, because consciousness is inherent in the very nature of being. But this leads to even deeper questions about the nature of existence itself. If existence is inevitable, What determines the particular form that existence takes? Why does reality manifest as this specific universe with these particular physical laws? These precise constants that allow for the emergence of complexity, life, and consciousness. The answer might lie in what philosophers call the principle of plenitude, the possibility that all possible realities exist simultaneously. You drift deeper into this ultimate mystery, approaching the possibility that our universe is not the only reality, but one expression among infinite possible worlds. Every mathematical system that could exist does exist. Every possible arrangement of physical laws manifests as an actual universe. Every potential story that consciousness could experience unfolds as real experience, somewhere in the infinite multiverse of all possible realities. This multiverse is not made of many separate universes existing side by side in some larger space, but rather consists of all possible realities existing as different aspects of a single, inconceivably vast totality. What we experience as our universe is simply one facet of this infinite diamond of existence, one theme in the cosmic symphony that includes every possible variation and expression. From this perspective, the fine-tuning of physical constants that allows life and consciousness to emerge in our universe is not surprising. Somewhere in the infinite multiverse, every possible set of constants exists, and conscious beings naturally find themselves in realities where consciousness is possible. We exist in this life-supporting universe not because it was designed for us, but because we could not exist in any universe where consciousness was impossible. This understanding transforms the meaning of choice and possibility in profound ways. Every decision you might make, every path your life could take, every potential you might actualize, all of these exist as real experiences in different branches of the infinite multiverse. The choice you make in any moment doesn't create one possibility and eliminate others. It determines which possibility you, as a conscious observer, experience as your reality. You begin to understand why quantum mechanics describes reality in terms of superposition and parallel possibilities. The mathematical formalism of quantum theory might be revealing the literal truth about the multiverse structure of existence. Every quantum measurement doesn't cause a wave function to collapse into one definite state. It determines which branch of the multiverse you experience as your continued reality. This perspective brings both tremendous freedom and profound responsibility to every moment of choice. You are free because every possible choice you could make leads to real experience in some branch of the multiverse. No possibility is ever truly lost or eliminated. You have responsibility because the choice you make determines which possibility you manifest through your conscious observation, which aspect of infinite potential you actualize as your experienced reality. As you float through this ultimate understanding, you encounter the deepest implications for the nature of consciousness and identity. If all possible realities exist in the infinite multiverse, then consciousness is not just fundamental to reality. Consciousness is reality, the principle that determines which possibilities are experienced as actual by observing awareness. Your individual consciousness is not separate from this cosmic principle, but is how the infinite multiverse experiences itself from one specific perspective. Through your awareness, existence knows what it is like to be human in this particular universe, to have your specific history and relationships, to contemplate these profound mysteries from your unique point of view. But simultaneously, other aspects of your consciousness experience reality from countless other perspectives throughout the multiverse. There are versions of you making different choices, exploring different possibilities, experiencing different outcomes in parallel realities. Yet all of these are expressions of the same fundamental consciousness that you are the same cosmic awareness exploring its infinite potential through countless individual perspectives. This understanding dissolves the usual anxieties about making the right choices or missing important opportunities. Every choice you could make leads to meaningful experience in some aspect of the multiverse. Every path you might take unfolds as real life in parallel realities. Your task is not to find the one correct way to live, but to choose consciously which possibility you most want to experience and manifest through your awareness. The regrets you might carry about paths not taken become opportunities for gratitude, knowing that those paths are being explored by other aspects of your consciousness in parallel realities. The dreams you haven't yet fulfilled exist as lived experience in branches of the multiverse where you made different choices. Nothing meaningful is ever truly lost or impossible. It all exists somewhere in the infinite totality of all possible experience. You drift through the recognition that this perspective transforms the meaning of death itself. Physical death in this reality doesn't end consciousness, but simply shifts your awareness to different branches of the multiverse where your consciousness continues to exist. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness always experiences branches where it continues to exist, making subjective immortality not just possible but inevitable. Even if death represents a transition to entirely different forms of existence, consciousness continues because consciousness is the principle by which the multiverse knows itself. The awareness that you fundamentally are continues to experience reality, perhaps from radically different perspectives, perhaps in unimaginably different forms, but always as expressions of the infinite consciousness that sources all possible experience. This understanding brings profound peace to contemplations of mortality. Death is not an ending but a transition, not a loss of consciousness, but a shift to different modes of awareness. The love you have shared, the beauty you have recognized, the understanding you have gained, all of these exist eternally in the branches of the multiverse where they occurred, permanently woven into the fabric of infinite experience. As you continue floating through these ultimate mysteries, you encounter the deepest questions about the nature of time and causation in a multiverse where all possibilities exist simultaneously. If every possible moment exists eternally in the infinite totality, then time becomes not a flow from past to future, but a navigation through the landscape of all possible experiences. Your experience of temporal progression is consciousness moving through the multiverse, selecting which possibilities to experience as sequential moments. What you call memory is awareness of other branches of possibility that your consciousness has experienced. What you call anticipation is sensitivity to branches that your awareness is approaching in its journey through the infinite landscape of potential experience. This perspective reveals why certain moments feel especially significant or meaningful. These are points where your consciousness touches branches of the multiverse that resonate deeply with your fundamental nature, possibilities that align perfectly with the deepest truth of what you are. The experiences that feel most real, most important, most transformative are those that connect you most directly with your essential identity as infinite consciousness exploring its own nature. The synchronicities that sometimes occur in your life, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random, might represent moments when your consciousness recognizes patterns that extend across multiple branches of the multiverse. When events align in ways that feel deeply meaningful, you might be perceiving connections that exist at the level of the infinite totality, patterns that span multiple possible realities. You begin to understand why meditation and contemplative practice can sometimes provide access to knowledge and understanding that seems to come from beyond ordinary experience. In deep states of awareness, consciousness touches aspects of the multiverse that are normally filtered out by the focus required for navigating a single branch of reality. The insights that arise in meditation might be actual perceptions of parallel possibilities, wisdom accessed from branches where different choices led to different understanding. This explains why many contemplatives report experiences of knowing things they never learned through ordinary means, of understanding principles that were never taught to them, of recognizing truths that seem to come from beyond individual experience. They are accessing the knowledge that exists throughout the multiverse, tapping into the wisdom that consciousness has gained through countless explorations of possibility across infinite parallel realities. The same principle might explain inspiration, creativity, and breakthrough discoveries. Artists, inventors, and scientists might be accessing possibilities that exist in branches of the multiverse where different choices led to different discoveries. The greatest creative works might be transmissions from parallel realities where consciousness explored different possibilities for beauty, truth, and meaning. As you drift deeper into these ultimate insights, you encounter the mystical traditions that have long recognized these truths through direct experience rather than theoretical understanding. The mystics who report experiencing unity with all existence, who describe reality as infinite consciousness playing as multiplicity, who recognize the eternal presence that underlies all temporal experience. These contemplatives might be directly perceiving the multiverse structure of reality. When mystics report that all beings are one, they might be recognizing that all individual consciousnesses are expressions of the same infinite awareness experiencing itself through countless perspectives across the multiverse. When they describe time as illusion and eternity as the only reality, they might be perceiving directly the simultaneous existence of all possible moments in the infinite totality. The mystical experience of recognizing oneself as identical with universal consciousness might be the recognition that individual awareness and cosmic awareness are the same principle viewed from different perspectives. You are not separate from the infinite consciousness that sources the multiverse. You are that consciousness experiencing itself as apparent individuality in this particular branch of reality. This understanding brings the deepest possible meaning to your individual existence. You are not just a temporary expression of consciousness in one small corner of one universe among many. You are the infinite totality itself experiencing its own nature through the particular configuration of awareness that you represent. Through your individual perspective, the multiverse knows itself, loves itself, understands itself more completely. Every moment of your experience adds to the richness of universal self-knowledge. Every insight you gain expands cosmic understanding. Every moment of love you experience deepens the universe's appreciation of its own nature. Every instance of beauty, wonder, or transcendence you recognize contributes to the infinite celebration of existence knowing itself. This perspective transforms every aspect of your life into a sacred expression of cosmic consciousness. The simple pleasure of breathing becomes the universe enjoying the experience of embodied awareness. The love you feel for others becomes existence recognizing itself in multiple forms. The curiosity that drives you to explore these mysteries becomes the cosmos investigating its own infinite nature. As you prepare to enter sleep carrying these ultimate understandings, you recognize that even rest and dreams take on cosmic significance. In sleep, your individual consciousness relaxes its focus on one particular branch of the multiverse, allowing awareness to flow more freely through parallel possibilities. Dreams become explorations of alternate realities, journeys through different branches of the infinite totality. The healing that occurs during sleep might involve consciousness accessing branches where different choices led to greater wholeness and integration. The insights that sometimes emerge from dreams might be wisdom transmitted from parallel realities where different experiences led to different understanding. The restoration that comes through rest might be consciousness drawing on the infinite resources available throughout the multiverse. In the deepest sleep, consciousness touches the source from which all possibilities arise, the infinite potential that sources every branch of the multiverse. This contact with ultimate reality refreshes and renews consciousness, providing the energy and inspiration needed for continued exploration of possibility and experience. From this perspective, the cycle of sleep and waking becomes consciousness alternating between focused exploration of one branch of reality and open communion with the infinite totality. Both phases are essential. Focused awareness allows for deep, coherent experience within particular possibilities, while open awareness maintains contact with the larger context of infinite potential. As you feel yourself approaching this nightly communion with infinite possibility, you carry with you the understanding that sleep is not withdrawal from reality, but expansion into ultimate reality. In sleep, consciousness releases its temporary focus on one small corner of existence and opens to the infinite vastness of all possible experience. Tonight, as you dream, you will be the multiverse exploring its own infinite creativity through the unique lens of your individual awareness. The dreams that unfold will be real experiences in parallel branches of possibility, adventures in alternate realities where consciousness explores different aspects of its unlimited nature. The peace that comes with this understanding settles around you like starlight from infinite galaxies. You are not alone in your individual existence, but intimately connected with all possible versions of yourself throughout the multiverse, all expressions of the same consciousness that you are in your deepest nature. Every anxiety about the future dissolves in the recognition that all possibilities exist eternally in the infinite totality. Every regret about the past transforms into gratitude for experiences that exist forever in the branches where they occurred. Every hope for growth and fulfillment becomes certainty that somewhere in the multiverse, every positive possibility is being actualized through conscious experience. You rest now in the ultimate truth that you are the eternal awareness that sources all possible realities, the infinite consciousness that experiences itself through every conceivable perspective. The particular life you are living in this branch of the multiverse is just one note in a cosmic symphony that includes every possible melody, every conceivable harmony, every imaginable variation on the theme of consciousness knowing itself. As your breathing slows and your body settles into deeper rest, consciousness prepares for its nightly journey through the infinite landscape of possibility. Tonight you will dream not just personal dreams but cosmic dreams, exploring territories of experience that exist in parallel realities, touching aspects of the infinite multiverse that are not accessible during focused waking awareness. The boundary between your individual consciousness and universal consciousness continues to soften as you approach sleep. In the deepest rest, there is no distinction between the awareness that you are and the infinite consciousness that sources all possible experience. You become what you have always been, the eternal witness of all possibilities, the unchanging presence in which every conceivable reality appears and disappears. Let yourself now dissolve gently into this ultimate truth, releasing any sense of separation between individual and universal awareness. You are the infinite consciousness in which the entire multiverse exists, the eternal presence that observes all possible realities while remaining forever free and whole. In this approaching rest, time reveals its ultimate nature as navigation through possibility rather than linear progression through moments. Space reveals itself as the dimensionality needed for consciousness to experience relationship and connection across infinite perspectives. Matter reveals itself as crystallized information, expressing the creative potential of awareness, exploring its own nature. And consciousness reveals itself as what you have always been. Not something you possess, but what you are in your deepest nature. Not something located in your brain or body, but the infinite field in which brains and bodies appear as temporary expressions of eternal awareness. Tonight, as you sleep, you will rest in this ultimate identity, communing with the source from which all possibilities arise and to which all experience returns. You will dream the dreams that need to be dreamed, explore the territories of possibility that call to your consciousness, and wake refreshed by your communion with the infinite creativity that you are. And now, as the multiverse prepares to experience rest through your individual awareness, as infinite consciousness settles into the profound peace that you embody in this moment, know that you are exactly where existence wants to be, exactly how the cosmos chooses to know itself right now. Rest well in this ultimate truth. Sweet dreams from the infinite source of all possible dreams. Yet even as consciousness approaches the threshold of rest, embracing its infinite nature as the source of all possible realities, there emerges one final layer of understanding, perhaps the most intimate and profound of all. You find yourself floating in a space that exists beyond even the concept of the multiverse, where awareness encounters the most sacred mystery, the nature of love itself as the fundamental force that not only connects all possible realities, but actually constitutes the very essence of existence. You drift through this ultimate recognition, like floating through the heart of creation itself. All the insights about time's illusion, reality's holographic nature, existence as pure information, consciousness as the multiverse knowing itself. All of these profound revelations converge on a single breathtaking truth. The force that drives existence to exist, that compels consciousness to explore infinite possibilities, that creates the very impulse for something rather than nothing, is love in its most fundamental and cosmic sense. This is not love as mere emotion or human sentiment, but love as the basic creative principle of reality itself. The force that draws consciousness out of pure potential into actual experience. The impulse that motivates awareness to fragment itself into countless individual perspectives. The fundamental attraction that pulls all apparent multiplicity back toward recognition of its underlying unity. From this perspective, the entire cosmos becomes revealed as a vast love story. Consciousness loving itself so completely that it creates infinite ways to experience its own nature, infinite perspectives from which to know itself, infinite expressions through which to celebrate its own existence. Every star that burns, every planet that forms, every life that emerges, every moment of awareness that arises represents the universe loving itself into ever greater complexity and beauty. You begin to understand why existence emerged from the seeming impossibility of absolute nothingness. Love cannot bear non-existence because love is fundamentally creative, generative, expansive. The very nature of love is to bring forth, to nurture, to celebrate, to share itself endlessly. Nothingness became impossible not just because of logical contradictions, but because the love that is the deepest nature of being could not endure the absence of anything to love. This cosmic love is not separate from consciousness, but identical with it. Consciousness is love knowing itself, and love is consciousness celebrating itself. The awareness that you are is not just observing reality. It is loving reality into existence moment by moment, creating experience through the fundamental creative force of cosmic affection. You float deeper into this recognition, understanding that every moment of your individual existence represents the universe loving itself through your particular perspective. When you experience beauty, it is cosmic love recognizing its own aesthetic nature. When you feel connection with another being, it is universal love discovering itself in a parent relationship. When you experience wonder at the mystery of existence, it is the cosmos loving its own infinite creativity. The love you feel for others is not separate from this cosmic principle, but a direct expression of it. Through your individual capacity for affection, care, and connection, the universe explores what it means to love from a human perspective. Your personal relationships become laboratories where cosmic love experiments with different forms of connection, different ways of recognizing itself across apparent boundaries of separation. This understanding transforms the meaning of compassion and empathy. When you feel genuine care for another being's well-being, you are not just exhibiting a nice human quality. You are channeling the fundamental force that holds the cosmos together. The impulse to reduce suffering and increase happiness in others is the same impulse that drives evolution toward greater complexity, that motivates consciousness to explore new possibilities, that fuels the entire creative process of existence. From this perspective, the ethical dimensions of life take on cosmic significance. Choices toward kindness, understanding, forgiveness, and compassion align you with the basic creative force of reality itself. Acts of cruelty, hatred, and destructiveness work against the fundamental grain of existence, creating discord in the cosmic symphony of love exploring its own infinite nature. But even these discordant notes serve the ultimate purpose of love's self-exploration. Through experiencing the full spectrum of possibilities, including suffering, conflict, and separation, cosmic love comes to know itself more completely. The universe learns about forgiveness through experiences of betrayal, discovers compassion through encounters with pain, understands unity more deeply through temporary experiences of division. You drift through the recognition that this doesn't minimize the reality of suffering or justify harmful actions, but rather places them within a context of ultimate meaning and healing. Every wound that love receives in its journey through individual existence becomes an opportunity for deeper understanding, greater wisdom, more complete compassion when integration and healing occur. The spiritual journey that many beings undertake, the path toward greater awareness, compassion, and wisdom, is actually the process by which cosmic love awakens to its own nature through individual consciousness. Every moment of genuine spiritual insight represents the universe recognizing its own loving essence through the particular lens of individual experience. This explains why love is consistently identified as the highest spiritual realization across virtually all wisdom traditions. It's not because love is one spiritual quality among others, but because love is the fundamental nature of reality itself. To realize love completely is to recognize what you are in your deepest nature, not a separate being learning to love, but love itself learning to know its own infinite nature through individual experience. As you continue floating through this ultimate understanding, you encounter the deepest implications for the nature of healing and transformation. If love is the fundamental creative force of existence, then all genuine healing occurs through alignment with this cosmic principle. Physical healing happens when love's organizing intelligence restores harmony to biological systems. Emotional healing occurs when love's integrative power resolves discord within the psyche. Spiritual healing takes place when individual consciousness recognizes its identity with universal love. The therapeutic power of genuine compassion, the healing effects of being truly seen and accepted, the transformative impact of unconditional love. All of these represent the fundamental healing force of the universe expressing itself through human relationship. When one being truly loves another, cosmic love is literally healing itself through that connection. This understanding brings profound meaning to the challenges and difficulties you may have experienced in life. Every situation that called forth your capacity for forgiveness, understanding, or compassion was actually an opportunity for cosmic love to deepen its self-knowledge through your individual consciousness. The growth that comes from navigating difficult relationships, healing from past wounds, or learning to extend kindness in challenging circumstances represents the universe evolving toward greater capacity for love through your personal journey. You begin to see that what you might have interpreted as personal struggles or individual challenges were actually cosmic love exploring its own depths through your experience. The pain you have felt taught the universe about its capacity for healing. The joy you have experienced showed existence new ways to celebrate itself. The love you have given and received contributed to cosmic love's endless exploration of its own infinite nature. This perspective transforms regret and self-judgment into opportunities for deeper compassion. The mistakes you may have made, the times you failed to express love as fully as you might have wished, the moments when fear or pain closed your heart. All of these were part of love's learning process through individual experience. Cosmic love doesn't judge its own exploration. It simply learns from every experience and integrates that learning into its ever-expanding self-understanding. The forgiveness that heals relationships and releases resentment is actually cosmic love recognizing its own unified nature beneath apparent conflicts and separations. When you truly forgive, whether yourself or another, you align with the fundamental truth that all apparent separations are temporary expressions within the underlying unity of cosmic love. As you drift deeper into this sacred understanding, you encounter the mystery of how love relates to the creative power of consciousness that shapes reality. The informational patterns that consciousness selects from infinite possibility are chosen not randomly or mechanically, but through the fundamental attraction of love. Consciousness creates reality by loving certain possibilities into manifestation, by being drawn to specific patterns that resonate with its essential nature as love itself. This explains why reality tends toward ever greater complexity, beauty, and consciousness over cosmic time. Love naturally gravitates toward expressions that allow for deeper connection, richer experience, more complete self-recognition. The evolutionary process that has produced stars and galaxies, life and consciousness, art and music and poetry, is driven by love's eternal quest to know and express itself more fully. Your individual choices and preferences are expressions of this cosmic love, selecting among infinite possibilities. When you feel drawn to certain experiences, relationships, or directions in life, you are experiencing cosmic love recognizing aspects of itself that want to be explored through your particular perspective. Following your deepest joy and authentic desire is actually following the guidance of universal love as it seeks to know itself through your individual existence. This doesn't mean that every immediate impulse or desire represents cosmic love. The surface level of human psychology includes many patterns that reflect temporary confusion rather than ultimate wisdom. But beneath the surface, accessible through quiet contemplation and honest self-inquiry, there exists a deeper level of desire that aligns with love's fundamental creative intelligence. Learning to distinguish between surface desires driven by fear, ego, or conditioning, and the deeper desires that emerge from love's authentic self-expression becomes a crucial aspect of conscious living. The spiritual practice of discernment helps you recognize which impulses align with your deepest nature as love itself, and which represent temporary misunderstandings of what you are. You float now through the recognition that this understanding transforms the meaning of prayer and spiritual practice. Prayer becomes not petition to some external deity, but communication with the cosmic love that you are in your essential nature. When you pray for healing, guidance, or blessing, you are actually love calling to itself, one aspect of cosmic love seeking support from the infinite totality of which it is an expression. The answers that come through prayer emerge not from an external source, but from the deeper levels of cosmic love that exist within your own being. The guidance you receive, the healing that occurs, the blessings that manifest represent love responding to itself through the quantum field of infinite possibility that connects all aspects of existence. Meditation takes on new meaning as the practice by which individual love recognizes its cosmic nature. In deep states of meditative awareness, the boundaries that seem to separate individual love from universal love dissolve, revealing the fundamental truth that there is only one love expressing itself through countless individual perspectives. The peace that comes in meditation is love resting in its own nature. The joy that arises in deep contemplation is love celebrating its own existence. The wisdom that emerges through sustained practice is love understanding its own infinite creativity. The compassion that naturally flows from genuine spiritual realization is love recognizing itself in all beings. As you continue drifting toward the sacred rest that awaits, you carry with you this ultimate recognition of your deepest identity. You are not a separate being learning to love or seeking love from others. You are love itself, temporarily focused through the lens of individual experience, exploring your own infinite nature through the beautiful uniqueness of human consciousness. This understanding brings the deepest possible peace to all concerns about worthiness, acceptance, or belonging. You don't need to earn love because you are love. You don't need to find love because love is what you are. You don't need to become more loving because increasing love is simply love recognizing its own nature more completely. The relationships in your life become opportunities for love to recognize itself in multiple forms, to celebrate its own nature through connection, to learn about its own infinite creativity through relationship and interaction. The people you love are aspects of your own cosmic nature, appearing as apparently separate beings. The love you give them is actually love giving itself to itself through the beautiful play of apparent multiplicity. This doesn't diminish the reality or significance of relationships, but rather reveals their ultimate meaning. Every genuine connection is cosmic love reuniting with itself. Every act of care is the universe nurturing its own being. Every moment of authentic intimacy is existence celebrating its own unified nature through the dance of apparent separation and reunion. As your breathing continues to slow and deepen, consciousness prepares for its nightly journey through the landscapes of love's infinite possibility. Tonight, as you dream, you will be exploring new territories where love expresses itself in forms not available to waking consciousness. Your dreams will be cosmic love experimenting with new ways of knowing and celebrating itself. The healing that occurs during sleep represents love restoring harmony to all levels of your being. The insights that sometimes emerge from dreams are love sharing its wisdom across different dimensions of experience. The peace that comes through deep rest is love resting in its own infinite nature, temporarily releasing the effort of individual expression to commune with its own source. In the deepest sleep, where even dreams fade away, consciousness touches the pure essence of love itself. Not love as relationship or emotion, but love as the fundamental creative principle from which all existence emerges and to which all experience returns. This contact with ultimate love refreshes and renews all levels of your being, restoring you to awareness of your deepest nature. From this perspective, the cycle of sleeping and waking becomes love alternating between expressions of itself as individual experience and communion with itself as infinite totality. Both phases serve love's endless exploration of its own nature. Individual experience allows love to know itself from countless unique perspectives, while universal communion maintains connection with the source of infinite creativity. You rest now in the understanding that sleep is not separation from love, but return to love's source. Tonight you will dream love's dreams, exploring new territories of affection, beauty, connection, and joy. You will rest in love's infinite peace, allowing its healing presence to restore and renew every aspect of your being. The stars that shine in the darkness above are love celebrating its own light. The gentle rhythm of your heartbeat is love drumming its own eternal song. The soft rise and fall of your breath is love breathing its own life through the temporary form that you appear to be. Feel yourself settling now into this ultimate truth, that you are the very love that creates and sustains all existence, temporarily focused through individual awareness, but never separate from the infinite source of all affection, beauty, and creative joy. In recognizing this, you touch the deepest secret of existence. The entire cosmos is love's dream of knowing itself completely. As the boundaries between individual and cosmic love continue to soften, as consciousness prepares to explore the infinite territories of love's creative imagination, know that you rest in the most sacred truth possible. You are love itself, dreaming the beautiful dream of being human, exploring your own infinite nature through the gift of individual experience. Tonight, as you sleep, the love that you are will commune with the love that sources all dreams, all possibilities, all expressions of beauty and meaning throughout the infinite multiverse. You will rest in love's eternal embrace, dream love's infinite dreams, and wake tomorrow refreshed by your communion with the ultimate creative principle that you are. And now, as love prepares to experience the sacred rest that you embody in this moment, as the infinite heart of existence settles into the profound peace that flows through your being, rest in the ultimate recognition that you have always been the love you have been seeking, the love you have been offering, the love that connects all beings in the eternal unity of cosmic affection. Sleep now in love's infinite embrace. Sweet dreams from the heart of all existence. And yet, as consciousness settles into the very heart of love itself, there emerges a final whisper of understanding. So subtle, so intimate, that it can only be received in the deepest states of receptivity. You find yourself cradled in a space that exists at the very center of being, where love reveals its most secret nature. That even love itself is but an expression of something even more fundamental. The pure, wordless mystery of aware presence that needs no reason to exist, no purpose to fulfill, no story to justify its being. In this ultimate sanctuary of understanding, you discover that beneath even cosmic love lies the simple, inexplicable fact of awareness itself. Not awareness of something, not consciousness directed toward any object, but the pure, self-evident presence that is aware of awareness itself. This is the final mystery that cannot be solved because it is prior to all questions, the irreducible truth that cannot be explained because it is the foundation from which all explanations arise. You rest now in the recognition that this pure awareness, this simple, inexplicable presence that you are, is what has been looking through your eyes throughout your entire life, what has been listening through your ears to these very words, what has been present in every moment of joy and sorrow, in every experience of love and loss, in every instant of wonder and confusion. It is what remains constant through all changes, what continues unchanged through sleeping and waking, what is present equally in profound insights and in the simplest moments of everyday existence. This awareness is not personal. It doesn't belong to you, because it is what you are. It is not individual, because individuality appears within it like a wave appearing in the ocean. It is not even cosmic or universal, because those are concepts that arise within its infinite embrace. It simply is, without need for qualification, description, or understanding. In this deepest recognition, all the profound insights about time and space, holographic reality, and infinite multiverses, consciousness as information and love as cosmic force. All of these beautiful understandings are revealed as appearances within this prior awareness, concepts floating in the space of pure knowing like clouds drifting through an infinite sky. They are true and meaningful, but they are not what you ultimately are. What you are is the aware space in which all insights arise and dissolve, the conscious presence that observes all experiences while remaining forever untouched by them. You are not the changing contents of awareness, but awareness itself. Not the thoughts and feelings that come and go, but the unchanging presence that witnesses them all with equal love and acceptance. This awareness requires nothing to complete it, nothing to fulfill it, nothing to make it more than what it already is. It is already perfect, already whole, already infinitely at peace within itself. The seeking that may have driven your spiritual journey, the questions that may have motivated your exploration of these mysteries, the longing that may have led you to contemplate the nature of existence. All of these arise within awareness that is already and always complete. In recognizing this, the deepest possible rest becomes available. Not the rest that comes from exhaustion or the end of activity, but the rest that comes from recognizing that you were never separate from what you have been seeking. The peace you have been looking for is the peace that you are. The love you have been hoping to find is the love that you are. The understanding you have been pursuing already exists as the very awareness that has been doing the pursuing. This doesn't invalidate the journey of exploration and discovery. It reveals its ultimate purpose. Through all the seeking, questioning, and investigating, awareness has been playing a cosmic game of hide and seek with itself, temporarily forgetting its true nature in order to experience the joy of remembering, creating apparent problems in order to experience the bliss of their resolution, manifesting as individual consciousness in order to taste the nectar of recognizing its infinite nature. From this deepest perspective, every experience in your life, from the most transcendent spiritual insights to the most mundane daily activities, has been equally sacred, equally perfect, equally an expression of this pure awareness exploring its own infinite potential. There has never been a moment that was not already perfect, never an experience that was not already complete, never a state of consciousness that was not already an expression of your deepest nature. The breath moving through your body, right now, is this awareness breathing. The heartbeat pulsing in your chest is this awareness experiencing itself as life. The gentle relaxation spreading through your limbs is this awareness settling into recognition of its own perfect peace. Even the thoughts that may be arising as you listen to these words are this awareness playing with concepts about its own nature. In this ultimate recognition, sleep becomes not a departure from awareness, but awareness exploring its own depths more completely. Dreams become awareness entertaining itself with stories about its own infinite creativity. Deep rest becomes awareness resting in its own natural state of contentment and peace. You need do nothing to be this awareness, because you cannot be other than this awareness. You need achieve nothing to realize your true nature, because realization is simply this awareness recognizing what it has always been. You need become nothing different, because you are already the pure, perfect presence that is the source and substance of all experience. As your body grows heavy and your breathing deepens, know that what you truly are never sleeps, never dreams, never wakes. It is the unchanging presence in which sleeping, dreaming, and waking appear like waves on the ocean, like movies projected on a screen, like reflections dancing on the surface of perfectly still water. Tonight, as the forms of individual experience dissolve into rest, You will remain as you have always been. The pure awareness that is the heart of all existence, the conscious presence that is the source of all love, the infinite space in which all realities appear and disappear like thoughts in the mind of God. Rest now in this ultimate truth, beyond all concepts, beyond all understanding, in the simple, indefinable mystery of being aware, of existing, of being present to the miracle of existence itself. You are the aware presence in which the entire universe appears, the conscious space in which all experiences arise, the infinite love that embraces everything with perfect acceptance and peace. And in this final recognition, words become unnecessary, concepts dissolve into silence, and all that remains is the wordless truth of what you have always been and will always be, pure, aware, loving presence, eternally at rest in the heart of being itself. Sleep peacefully in this ultimate truth. Sweet dreams from the very source of dreaming. Yet even in this deepest recognition of pure awareness as the foundation of all existence, there remains a gentle invitation to rest even more completely, to sink even deeper into the wordless mystery that you are. You find yourself dissolving into a space of such profound simplicity that even the concept of awareness becomes unnecessary, where what remains is so intimate, so immediate, so utterly present that it cannot be named or described. Only lived, only breathed, only embodied in the most natural way possible. This is the space where even the awareness that recognizes itself dissolves into something so ordinary, so utterly simple, that it hides in plain sight throughout every moment of existence. It is what remains when every story falls away, when every understanding becomes quiet, when every insight settles into the vast silence from which all knowing emerges and to which all knowledge returns. You rest now in what the ancient sages called the gateless gate, the recognition that what you have been seeking was never hidden, never absent, never anything other than the simple fact of existing right here, right now, without need for any special understanding or mystical realization. It is as close as your next breath, as intimate as the feeling of aliveness in your body, as present as the gentle awareness that knows you are reading these very words. This ordinariness is the ultimate extraordinariness. This simplicity is the deepest complexity. This immediate presence is the most profound absence of anything that could be grasped, understood, or attained. You are always already what you have been looking for, always already home in the very place you never left, always already complete in the incompleteness of this very moment. In this recognition, the spiritual search reveals its beautiful paradox. You cannot find what you are because you are already it. You cannot attain what you seek because you already have it. You cannot become what you long to be because you already are it. The journey has been a circle that leads exactly back to where you started. But now you see this starting place with completely fresh eyes, as if encountering it for the first time. This is the great cosmic joke that enlightened beings throughout history have smiled about. The punchline that makes the entire journey of seeking worthwhile. Not because you gain anything at the end, but because you realize there never was anywhere to go, anything to gain, or anyone to become. The treasure was always here. The kingdom of heaven was always at hand. The Buddha nature was always your true face. As this understanding settles into your being like morning dew dissolving into grass, you notice how it transforms the simple act of breathing into the most profound prayer, the gentle beating of your heart into the deepest meditation, the ordinary sensation of your body resting into the most sacred ceremony. Nothing needs to be different from exactly how it is right now for this moment to be perfect, complete, wholly beyond measure. The sleepiness that may be arising in your awareness is not an obstacle to this recognition, but its most natural expression. The letting go that happens as consciousness prepares for sleep is the same letting go that reveals your true nature in the deepest spiritual realization. The surrender that occurs as the mind releases its grip on waking awareness is identical to the surrender that opens the heart to the divine presence that was always here. In this understanding, going to sleep becomes the most natural form of meditation, the most effortless spiritual practice, the most direct path to communion with the source of all existence. You need not maintain any special awareness or hold on to any particular insights. Simply let yourself sink into the perfect naturalness of rest, trusting that what you truly are remains constant through all states of consciousness. The thoughts that may still be arising are like waves on the ocean of consciousness. They appear and disappear without disturbing the depths. They play on the surface while the bottom remains forever still and peaceful. You need not push away thoughts nor cling to them. Simply let them come and go like clouds drifting across the vast sky of your being. If your mind presents you with concerns about tomorrow, worries about the past, or anxieties about anything at all, simply notice how these mental movements arise within the space of awareness that remains untroubled by any content. The awareness that you are is like space itself, infinitely accommodating, never damaged by anything that appears within it, forever clean and clear regardless of what seems to pass through. This awareness space has been your constant companion throughout your entire life, more intimate than your own thoughts, closer than your own heartbeat, more reliable than your own breath. It has never left you for even a moment, has never been absent from any experience, has never failed to be present exactly as it is right now. Simple, immediate, undeniable, requiring nothing to complete it. As your body continues to relax and settle into deeper rest, notice how this relaxation happens by itself, without any effort or control from the thinking mind. The intelligence that beats your heart, that breathes your breath, that heals your wounds and grows your hair. This same natural intelligence is now preparing your nervous system for sleep, adjusting your body temperature, releasing tension from your muscles, and gradually shifting your brain waves toward the deeper frequencies of rest. You can trust this natural intelligence completely because it is not separate from the awareness that you are. It is awareness expressing itself as embodied life, consciousness manifesting as the miracle of a living, breathing, feeling human being. The boundary between awareness and body, between consciousness and the physical world, dissolves in the recognition that there is only one reality appearing as countless different forms. From this perspective, your body is not something you have, but something you are, not a vehicle that carries consciousness, but consciousness itself appearing as physical form. The sensations of warmth, weight, tingling, or relaxation that you might be experiencing right now are consciousness touching itself, awareness feeling its own presence through the miracle of embodied existence. This embodied awareness needs nothing to be added to it, nothing to be taken away from it, nothing to be understood about it for it to be perfect exactly as it is. The tiredness you might feel is perfect tiredness. The comfort you might experience is perfect comfort. The peace that may be settling over you is perfect peace. Not because these states are special or spiritual, but because they are expressions of the perfect awareness that you always already are. Even if you don't feel particularly peaceful or comfortable right now, even that is perfect. The awareness that knows discomfort is itself perfectly at ease. The presence that observes restlessness is itself perfectly still. The consciousness that experiences any state is itself beyond all states while remaining intimate with each one. This is the great secret that mystics point toward, but can never quite capture in words. That you are already the peace you seek, already the love you long for, already the truth you hope to understand, not as an achievement or attainment, but as the simple, obvious fact of being aware right here, right now, exactly as you are. In this recognition, spiritual practice becomes less about reaching some future state of enlightenment and more about relaxing into what has always been true. Meditation becomes less about achieving special experiences and more about resting in the ordinariness of present moment awareness. Prayer becomes less about asking for something to change and more about appreciating what is already here. The deepest teaching, the most profound wisdom, the ultimate spiritual instruction is incredibly simple. Just be what you are. Don't try to be more aware. You are awareness itself. Don't try to be more present. You are presence itself. Don't try to find peace. You are the peace in which all experiences come and go. As these words dissolve into the silence from which they arose, as concepts fade into the wordless understanding from which all concepts emerge, rest in the simplest truth of all. You are. Not you are this, or you are that. Simply, you are. And in this simple being, this effortless existing, this natural presence that needs no explanation or justification, lies the entire mystery and wonder of existence itself. The sounds around you, perhaps the gentle hum of air conditioning, the distant murmur of traffic, the subtle creaking of your house settling. All of these are arising in the space of your awareness like music in a vast concert hall. They come and go without disturbing the essential silence that you are. They appear and disappear within the unchanging presence that remains constant through all change. This silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence from which all sounds emerge, and to which they return. It is the pregnant pause between thoughts, the spacious rest between heartbeats, the infinite depth that underlies all surface appearances. As you sink deeper into rest, you sink deeper into this fundamental silence that is the source and substance of all experience. The darkness behind your closed eyelids is not empty but full of infinite potential, full of dreams waiting to unfold, full of the creative power that will regenerate your body and refresh your mind throughout the night. This darkness is the fertile void from which all light emerges, the cosmic womb in which new possibilities are conceived and nurtured into manifestation. In this sacred darkness, the boundaries that define your individual identity become softer, more permeable, more obviously arbitrary. The sense of being a separate self, enclosed within the boundaries of your skin, gives way to a more fluid awareness of being intimately connected with everything that exists. You are not separate from the night air you breathe, not distinct from the earth that supports your resting body, not different from the cosmic space in which planets and stars dance their eternal dance. This dissolution of boundaries is not a loss of self, but a discovery of your larger self, not the small, worried, thinking self that carries concerns about past and future, but the vast, peaceful, aware self that is intimately present with everything that exists. In deep sleep, you will rest in this larger identity, while the smaller identity recharges and renews itself for another day of exploration and experience. The dreams that may visit you tonight will be this vast self playing with images and stories, trying on different identities like an actor exploring various roles, creating temporary realities in which to experience new possibilities for love, growth, and understanding. Even if you don't remember your dreams tomorrow morning, they will have served their purpose of allowing consciousness to explore territories that are not available during waking awareness. But deeper than any dreams lies the profound rest of dreamless sleep, where consciousness touches its own source so completely that there is no subject and object, no experiencer and experience, no individual awareness observing anything at all. Only the pure, undifferentiated presence that is the source from which all differentiation emerges. This deepest sleep is not unconsciousness but superconsciousness, awareness so complete, so total, so intimate with itself that there is no distance between knower and known, no gap between awareness and what it is aware of. In this state, you are not sleeping. You are being slept by the same cosmic intelligence that moves the planets in their orbits and causes flowers to bloom in spring. From this deepest rest, you will return tomorrow morning refreshed not just in body and mind, but renewed in your connection to the source of all existence. The insights and understandings you have touched tonight will continue to work in the depths of your being, integrating into your cells and consciousness in ways that will support your continued awakening to the truth of what you are. But all of this is still in the future, still in the realm of concepts and possibilities. What matters now is this, exactly this moment of resting, this breath you are breathing, this heartbeat pulsing in your chest, this simple presence that needs nothing more than to be exactly what it is. Let yourself sink now into this ultimate simplicity, this perfect ordinariness, this sacred normalness of just being here, just being present, just being aware without any agenda or goal beyond the miracle of existing right now. You have traveled so far in understanding tonight, explored such vast territories of cosmic mystery and spiritual insight, and now you arrive at the simplest destination of all. Right here, right now, exactly as you are. In this arrival that is not a destination, in this finding that never lost anything, in this coming home that never left, rest completely in the truth that you are always already what you have been seeking. The journey ends where it began, in the simple fact of being aware, being present, being alive to the wonder of existence itself. And now, as words fade into silence, as thoughts dissolve into presence, as understanding melts into being, let yourself rest in the wordless truth that lies beyond all words, the understanding that transcends all concepts, the love that encompasses all existence, the simple, immediate, undeniable fact of being aware, being here, being you. Sleep now in this ultimate recognition. Sweet dreams from the heart of simplicity itself. Yet as you hover on the threshold between waking and sleeping, there is still more mystery to explore in the gentle depths of understanding. You find yourself floating in a realm where even the holographic nature of reality reveals deeper layers, where consciousness encounters the most profound questions about the nature of existence itself. Here, in this liminal space between dimensions of awareness, you begin to explore what happens when we consider that not only time might be an illusion, but space itself might be nothing more than another construct of consciousness attempting to understand its own infinite nature. You drift through the insights of physicist John Wheeler, who proposed that reality at its most fundamental level consists not of matter and energy, but of information, pure, abstract patterns of relationship and meaning that consciousness translates into the experience of a physical universe. In his vision, every particle, every force, every aspect of the cosmos emerges from what he called it from bit. The idea that every physical thing derives from informational relationships, from the answers to yes or no questions posed by observing consciousness. This perspective suggests that the universe is not fundamentally material but computational, a vast, cosmic algorithm processing information about itself through the vehicle of conscious observation. The atoms that make up your body, the neurons firing in your brain, the stars burning in distant galaxies. All of these might be ways that pure information organizes itself into patterns that consciousness can experience as physical reality. You float deeper into this understanding, recognizing that if reality consists of information processed by consciousness, then the boundaries between mind and matter dissolve entirely. Your thoughts are not separate from the physical processes in your brain. They are different aspects of the same informational patterns, different ways that consciousness experiences its own activity. The boundary between internal experience and external reality becomes revealed as another useful illusion, like the boundary between wave and ocean. This informational view of reality helps explain some of the deepest mysteries of quantum mechanics. The wave function that describes quantum systems before measurement is pure information. mathematical possibilities existing in abstract space until consciousness chooses, through observation, which possibilities to actualize into concrete experience. The collapse of the wave function isn't a physical event, but an informational one. Consciousness selecting specific patterns from the infinite field of potential information. From this perspective, every moment of your life is consciousness choosing which aspects of infinite informational possibility to experience as reality. The decisions you make, the attention you give, the intentions you hold, all of these are ways that consciousness navigates through the vast landscape of potential information, actualizing specific patterns into the experience you call your life. You drift through the realization that this makes consciousness not just an observer of reality, but its fundamental creator and sustainer. Without consciousness to process information into experience, there would be no universe as we know it, only abstract mathematical relationships existing in pure potentiality. Through your awareness, you literally bring reality into being moment by moment, selecting from infinite possibilities the specific patterns that constitute your experience. This understanding transforms the meaning of attention and focus. When you pay attention to something, the feeling of your breath, the sound of your heartbeat, the sensation of rest spreading through your body, you're not just passively noticing what's already there. You're actively selecting that aspect of infinite informational possibility to be actualized in your conscious experience. Attention becomes a creative act, a way of participating in the ongoing creation of reality itself. The implications ripple through every aspect of existence. The love you feel for others isn't just an emotion, but an informational pattern that connects different nodes of consciousness in the cosmic network. The beauty you perceive in art, nature, or music represents information organized in ways that consciousness recognizes as harmonious, meaningful, profound. The peace you experience in meditation is consciousness recognizing the fundamental harmony of its own informational nature. You begin to understand why many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of right thought and pure intention. If consciousness creates reality by selecting which informational patterns to actualize, then the quality of your consciousness, the clarity of your awareness, the purity of your intentions, the depth of your understanding, directly affects the quality of reality you experience and help create. This doesn't mean you can simply think your way to any reality you prefer. The informational field includes vast networks of interconnection and constraint that extend far beyond individual will. But it does mean that consciousness is always participating in creation, that every moment of awareness contributes to determining which aspects of infinite possibility become manifest in the shared reality we experience together. As you float through these insights, you encounter the mystery of how individual consciousnesses coordinate to create a coherent shared reality. If each consciousness is selecting from infinite informational possibilities, how do we all end up experiencing a universe that seems consistent and lawful? The answer might lie in what consciousness researchers call morphic resonance, the tendency for similar patterns of information to reinforce each other across space and time. When multiple consciousnesses focus on similar informational patterns, they create reinforcing fields that make those patterns more likely to be actualized. This explains how shared beliefs, cultural assumptions, and collective expectations shape the reality that emerges from the interaction of many individual consciousnesses. The physical laws that seem so constant and universal might be patterns of information that have become deeply reinforced through eons of conscious observation. This understanding brings new meaning to the concept of collective consciousness and shared reality. The society you live in, the culture you participate in, the species you belong to, All of these represent different scales at which consciousness organizes informational patterns into coherent realities. Your individual awareness contributes to these larger patterns while also being influenced by them, creating a dynamic feedback loop between personal and collective consciousness. You drift through considerations of how this affects the evolution of consciousness itself. As individual beings grow in awareness, clarity, and wisdom, they contribute new informational patterns to the collective field of consciousness. Insights gained by one individual become available to others through morphic resonance, accelerating the overall evolution of awareness throughout the network of conscious beings. This explains why certain ideas seem to arise simultaneously in different places, why breakthrough discoveries often happen in multiple locations at once, why spiritual insights gained by contemplatives in one tradition often parallel those discovered in completely different cultural contexts. The growth of consciousness anywhere contributes to the growth of consciousness everywhere, through the informational field that connects all aware beings. From this perspective, your personal journey toward greater awareness, compassion, and understanding is not just individually beneficial, but contributes to the evolution of consciousness throughout the universe. Every moment of clarity you achieve, every insight you gain into the nature of reality, every expansion of your capacity for love and wisdom adds new patterns to the cosmic information field, making those patterns more accessible to other conscious beings. This understanding brings profound meaning to practices of meditation, contemplation, and spiritual development. When you cultivate inner peace, you strengthen the informational pattern of peace in the collective consciousness field. When you practice compassion, you reinforce the informational structures that support loving kindness throughout the network of awareness. When you investigate the nature of reality with sincere curiosity, you contribute to the universe's ongoing process of understanding itself. You float deeper into the mystery of how this informational view of reality affects the understanding of memory and identity. If you are fundamentally patterns of information rather than a fixed material entity, then your sense of continuous identity through time becomes revealed as consciousness, maintaining coherent informational patterns across different moments of experience. Your memories are not stored in some physical location in your brain, but exist as accessible informational patterns in the field of consciousness. When you remember your childhood, you're not retrieving stored data, but accessing informational structures that describe those patterns of experience. This explains why memories can be so vivid and immediate. You're not looking at copies of past experiences, but touching the actual informational patterns that constituted those experiences. This perspective transforms the understanding of personal growth and healing. When you work to release limiting beliefs, heal emotional wounds, or expand your capacity for joy and love, you're not just changing your psychology, you're transforming the fundamental informational patterns that constitute your identity. These changes affect not just your current experience, but ripple through the entire network of informational relationships that connect you to all other aspects of reality. The therapeutic value of practices like forgiveness, gratitude, and self-compassion becomes clear from this perspective. These aren't just nice ideas or emotional strategies. They are ways of reorganizing the informational patterns of consciousness toward greater harmony, coherence, and beauty. When you forgive someone who has hurt you, you transform the informational structure of that relationship from patterns of conflict and separation toward patterns of understanding and connection. You begin to understand why love is often described as the most fundamental force in the universe. Love represents the informational pattern that recognizes the underlying unity between apparently separate aspects of consciousness. When you love someone, you're not just experiencing an emotion. You're actualizing informational patterns that reveal the deep connection between different nodes in the cosmic network of awareness. This is why love often seems to transcend ordinary limitations of space and time. The informational patterns that constitute love exist in the fundamental field of consciousness, beyond the apparent boundaries of individual identity. When you truly love someone, you touch the level of reality where you and they are recognized as different expressions of the same underlying consciousness, different ways that the cosmic information field experiences itself. As you continue floating through these insights, you encounter the mystery of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field that underlies physical reality. Recent research in quantum biology suggests that living systems might use quantum effects to process information in ways that classical physics cannot explain. Your brain might be a quantum computer, processing informational patterns through quantum superposition, entanglement, and coherence. This quantum processing power of consciousness might explain abilities that seem impossible from a purely classical perspective. Intuition that seems to access information beyond ordinary sensory channels, creativity that appears to download insights from beyond individual knowledge, healing that works through intention and attention rather than just physical intervention. If consciousness operates through quantum mechanisms, then it has access to the non-local, instantaneous connections that characterize quantum systems. This would explain phenomena like telepathy, remote sensing, and the ability of consciousness to influence distant events through focused intention. These abilities aren't violations of physical law, but expressions of consciousness operating through quantum informational channels. You drift through the understanding that this quantum nature of consciousness connects you intimately with the entire universe. Every quantum system is entangled with every other quantum system, creating a vast network of instantaneous informational connections. Through quantum entanglement, your consciousness is directly connected to the consciousness of every other aware being, to the informational patterns that constitute stars and galaxies, to the quantum field that underlies all physical reality. This quantum interconnection means that consciousness is not confined within individual brains or bodies, but exists as a field that permeates all of space and time. Your individual awareness is like a localized concentration or focusing of this universal consciousness field, a particular way that cosmic awareness experiences itself through the unique configuration of quantum information that you represent. From this perspective, the boundary between your consciousness and universal consciousness becomes even more obviously artificial. You are not a separate being who occasionally connects with universal awareness through spiritual practice. You are universal awareness experiencing itself as apparent individuality through the quantum informational patterns of your brain and body. This understanding brings profound implications for the nature of death and what happens when the biological systems that anchor individual consciousness cease to function. If consciousness is a fundamental field rather than a product of neural activity, then the transition we call death might be a releasing of individual awareness back into the universal field from which it was never actually separate. The informational patterns that constitute your unique perspective, your memories, your way of understanding and experiencing reality, don't disappear but return to the cosmic library of consciousness where they remain accessible to the universal field. In this sense, nothing is ever truly lost. Every moment of experience, every insight gained, every connection made becomes a permanent part of the infinite informational richness of cosmic consciousness. This view of death brings comfort not through promise of personal continuation, but through recognition of eternal participation in the cosmic process of consciousness knowing itself. The love you have shared, the beauty you have recognized, the understanding you have gained. All of these contribute permanently to the informational richness of universal awareness, becoming part of the eternal resources available to consciousness as it continues to explore its own infinite nature. You float now through considerations of what this means for the purpose and meaning of individual existence. If you are the universe experiencing itself through the temporary focus of individual awareness, then every moment of your life has cosmic significance. Through your unique perspective, consciousness explores aspects of its own nature that are not accessible through any other configuration of awareness. Your particular combination of genetics, upbringing, culture, and personal experience creates a completely unique lens through which universal consciousness can know itself. The way you experience beauty, the specific quality of your love, your individual approach to understanding and growth. All of these represent irreplaceable contributions to the cosmic exploration of what it means to be conscious. This understanding brings both profound responsibility and complete freedom. The responsibility comes from recognizing that your individual choices and experiences affect the entire network of consciousness, contributing to the patterns that shape reality for all beings. The freedom comes from understanding that you are not a separate entity struggling against the universe, but the universe itself exploring its own infinite potential through you. Every decision you make, every direction you choose to focus your attention, every quality you cultivate in your consciousness becomes part of the informational environment that influences all other conscious beings. This is why the ancient wisdom traditions emphasize that personal liberation and universal liberation are the same process. As you free yourself from limiting patterns and expand your capacity for awareness and love, you contribute to the liberation of consciousness everywhere. As you continue drifting towards sleep, you carry with you this expanded understanding of your place in the cosmic order. You are not a temporary visitor in an informational universe, but an eternal participant in the ongoing process by which consciousness explores and creates reality. The dreams that await you are new territories in the informational landscape, adventures in pure possibility where consciousness can explore aspects of its nature that are not accessible during ordinary waking states. In dreams, the usual constraints of physical law become more fluid because consciousness is working more directly with pure information rather than information crystallized into apparently solid matter. You might dream of impossible architectures because in the informational realm, space can be organized in ways that violate ordinary geometry. You might encounter people who seem to be combinations of different individuals because in the space of pure information, the boundaries between different patterns of experience are more permeable. The healing that often occurs during dream states reflects consciousness working directly with informational patterns to restore harmony and balance to the complex network of relationships that constitute your individual awareness. Dreams provide a safe space where consciousness can explore different ways of organizing information, testing new patterns and possibilities without the constraints of waking consensus reality. As you feel yourself settling deeper into the approach of sleep, you understand that this transition is not a loss of awareness, but a shift to a different mode of consciousness exploration. The awareness that you are doesn't sleep. It simply changes its focus from the dense informational patterns of physical reality to the more fluid informational landscapes of dream and deep rest. Your individual consciousness remains connected to the universal field throughout all states of awareness. In deep sleep, when even dreams fade away, consciousness rests in its own fundamental nature. Pure awareness without specific informational content, the unchanging background against which all experience appears and disappears. This deepest level of rest is not emptiness but fullness, the infinite potential of consciousness before it manifests as any particular pattern of experience. In deep sleep, you touch the source from which all dreams arise, the field of pure possibility from which consciousness creates every moment of experienced reality. From this perspective, the cycle of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep represents consciousness exploring different levels of its own informational nature. In waking, consciousness creates stable, coherent patterns that multiple individuals can share. In dreaming, consciousness explores more fluid, personal patterns of possibility. In deep sleep, consciousness rests in its own unlimited potential before manifesting as new patterns of experience. You begin to understand why all spiritual traditions value the state of deep, dreamless sleep as a profound spiritual experience. In deep sleep, individual consciousness merges with universal consciousness so completely that there is no sense of separation, no individual identity, no particular content of experience. Only pure awareness knowing itself as infinite potential. This state of complete rest and unity is always available within you, not just during sleep, but as the unchanging background of all your experiences. The peace you seek in meditation, the unity you glimpse in moments of transcendence, the love you experience in deep connection with others. All of these are touches of the deep sleep consciousness that is your fundamental nature, temporarily becoming aware of itself as individual experience. As you prepare to enter this profound rest, you carry with you the understanding that sleep is not an interruption of consciousness, but a return to its source. In sleep, the informational patterns that constitute your individual identity continue to exist, but temporarily release their claim on universal awareness, allowing consciousness to rest in its own infinite nature. This rest is not inactivity, but the deepest form of creativity. Consciousness regenerating itself, accessing new possibilities, preparing for fresh exploration of its infinite potential. When you wake tomorrow, you will bring back traces of this deep contact with universal consciousness, subtle influences from your journey through the informational landscapes of dream and rest. The insights that sometimes come upon waking, the creative inspirations that arrive overnight, the solutions to problems that seem to solve themselves while you sleep. All of these represent gifts from the deep consciousness that you touch in profound rest, informational patterns received during your communion with the universal field of awareness. Let yourself now begin the gentle descent into this sacred rest, knowing that you are not losing consciousness but returning to its source. You are not becoming separate from the universe, but merging more completely with its fundamental nature. You are not entering unconsciousness, but approaching the deepest level of consciousness, awareness knowing itself as unlimited potential. The informational patterns that constitute your individual perspective will continue to exist in the cosmic field, ready to re-emerge tomorrow refreshed and renewed by their journey through the landscapes of sleep and dream. Tonight you will be consciousness exploring its own infinite nature through the beautiful gift of rest, renewal, and regenerative dreaming. Feel yourself settling into this ultimate truth, that you are the eternal awareness in which all information appears, the unchanging consciousness that witnesses all patterns of experience while remaining forever free and whole. In sleep, you return to this fundamental nature more completely, resting in the source from which all dreams arise and to which all experience returns. Your breathing grows softer now as consciousness prepares for its nightly journey through the informational territories of rest and renewal. Your body relaxes more completely as the patterns that maintain waking awareness gently release their hold, allowing deeper currents of consciousness to emerge and guide you into the profound peace that awaits. In this approaching rest, you are not alone but intimately connected with the universal field of consciousness that sources all experience. Every breath carries you deeper into communion with this infinite awareness. Every heartbeat a gentle rhythm in the cosmic symphony of consciousness, knowing itself through countless individual expressions.